information from the financial records to assist law enforcement in locking up whom she calls vile criminals. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. TDOT is reporting a crash blocking the left shoulder, going to be 40 westbound near Spence Lane. I'm seeing a pretty good buildup as usual this time of day, going northbound 65 to the South Loop downtown. Eastbound South Loop is particularly busy right there around Demonbreun. And then the East Loop going both east and westbound. Got a lot of brake tapping there, as is northbound 65 up to the 24 split. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello, kids. Welcome, one and all. It's the Matt Murphy Radio Show underway for another day. Happy to be with you on this Thursday, July 10. You probably knew that by now. I hope you did at least. Did you know it's episode 839 of our gathering together today since I've been in Nashville, Tennessee on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I've been counting every single one of them and have enjoyed almost every single one of them. It's day 171 of the Trump administration's second term. That's out of 1,460.5. And allow me, if you will, to inundate you with the pleasantries, and we'll get this show lumbering under its own weight. You can find us on a variety of platforms, to include the radio dial, of course, 99.7 FM. Yet still, the majority of people who watch or listen to this radio show do so on the radio dial, and we appreciate you for that. But there's always a growing audience on Spotify, iHeart, TuneIn, our own app, Supertalk 99.7 WTN. Type that into your app store. You can find us and carry us wherever you go. And, of course, then there's the Talk TV side of things. For you masochists in the listening audience that want to see how I look and what I do as I perform what we do for 4 hours a day, there's a way for you to watch. I don't know why you would want to, but there it is. Supertalk TV is up and running. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Rumble. That's right, rumble. Speaking of rumbling, what's up, Jackson?
What's up, buddy? Have you counted how many meetings we have together at this point?
I have not.
Me neither.
I think we've bested. I think I have now bested my interim host, Chris Hand, when I was out for the surgery. I think you and I have been together longer than he and you were together.
I think today is actually the tie.
I know. I think this is the winner for me because you were on Monday. Yeah, I'm right. You were 8 days. You were a week, Monday through Friday. That's 5. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday because we were out that Thursday, Friday. Today is the tiebreaker.
Today is 8.
Today's 9. We were together a week, right?
Yes.
And now we've.
Oh, today is Thursday. I couldn't. I thought today was Wednesday.
You were thinking it was Wednesday.
Yeah, so you win.
Thank you. I don't want to belabor the win, but how about what I just gave you? I just gave you a little gift because you thought it was Wednesday and you thought you had 2 more days for the weekend. And now look.
Friday Eve.
Don't. Do you know? You don't.
You don't like that?
No. Ken Weaver is back at home base. We're going to get an update from Weaver. Weaver knew. I'm not a fan of Friday Eve. I think Friday Eve is stupid.
It's just something to say.
Well,
Fills time.
What I say is, look, it's America, and I suppose you have freedom of speech, and you get to express yourself in any fashion of your choosing. But just to know this, every time someone says Friday Eve, a puppy dies. Okay?
That went better than the Welcome Back Cotter thing.
True.
You want to revisit that?
No, I don't. Hey, Ken Weaver's back. What about that? I think somebody put Welcome Back Cotter on the hotkeys. What's going on, Ken Weaver? How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. Got my fingers crossed. Looks like getting the AC fixed right now. And just fingers crossed that this thing comes on and we get back to some normal temperatures here in the Weaver household.
What is the do you have a current temperature estimate as to what we're looking at currently?
It is 85 downstairs and probably around 87, 88 upstairs.
Are you in the I know that you have been known to broadcast from the breakfast nook when broadcasting from home. Is that where you are right now?
That's where I'm at, buddy, and I got an oscillating fan in my face, but it's not oscillating. It's straight on.
Yeah, you know what I would recommend?
Oh, it's straight on.
I don't know that if you have one of those little floor fans, one of those little deals that, I strongly recommend just going ahead and putting that at your feet and blowing it straight up the skirt. Come on. Can't beat it.
That's not a bad idea.
Cannot beat it.
Well, that'll fight the swamp ass.
Well, it's no question about it.
What is the swamp ass meter, Ken?
Let's see. Let's check here. Actually, we're not there in Nashville. Hey, the meter's not even touched because you guys had that shower come through.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of cooled it off. It's only 81 degrees right now in Nashville. Heat index is 85. So the meter, I mean, it's asleep right now.
What about in the Weaver household?
Weaver house, it's in the purple.
Did I hear you tell, it was on Benson's show, I think, that you said that your son was in a hoodie?
Yes. He's upstairs right now.
What, in a hoodie?
Yes. I don't know if he's in a hoodie today, but he was 2 days ago. I mean, teenagers these days, they wear hoodies all the time.
Well, I mean, I guess so, but my goodness.
Yeah.
There comes a point where you got to start shedding some clothing.
Yeah. Now, yesterday, before he went to work, he did come down and he said, "All right, Dad, we got to do something."
It's hot.
Yes.
Well, we're wishing y'all the best. Is there active work going on as we speak? Is that what?
Oh, yes, sir.
Oh,
yes, sir.
I love hearing that.
It is active. It's going on right now.
Well, best of luck as you are broadcasting from beautiful Murfreesboro in the Weaver household today. In the hopes, fingers crossed, that we get some AC popping here during the show. But Ken, I don't care what
Wouldn't
I'm
that
doing.
Be something?
In the midst of a rant, in the midst of an interview, we actually don't have any interviews today, but whatever we're doing, when that AC pops on, I want a Weaver update. I want a big-time explosion breaking news thing, and I want Weaver in there alerting us to the AC coming on, okay?
You got it.
All right, my friend. Weaver's back at home. It's 13 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And I appreciate Ken. I mean, Ken could have easily said, hey, I got to call it. I got to deal with this AC today. But he's back after it, even from home. And so we appreciate that. We appreciate each of you participating in the broadcast in your own way. Some of you passively listen on a day-to-day basis. I thank you for that. If you are communicating with us on the social media platforms, I encourage you to go over to @MattMurphyShow on the X machine. I'm there most often. Although I was told that I ought to promote my my Instagram and my Facebook too. Instagram is probably, you'll find me at Instagram more than Facebook. Those things kind of go hand in hand. It's @MattMurphyShow on Instagram too. I don't guess you have to put the @ It's just Matt Murphy Show. And then Matt Murphy or Matt Murphy Show on Facebook. Those are the ones that I frequent more often than any. I'm not on TikTok because I got enough Chinese in my shoulder. I don't need Chinese in my phone. How about that? So we would love to find you there. You can also hit us up on the phone lines or the super text line, 615-737-9986. We'll get to Chattanooga Chickens coming up next hour. As I mentioned, no guest today. Intentional on my part because I want to get back to our communication. I absolutely love phone calls. I love that level of communication. I love that dialogue. And in the spirit of what happened to me earlier today, I want to engage in dialogue with you because what happened to me earlier today was something quite special. And I won't go into any of the particulars, not that there were any parameters put on the discussion, but we had a caller earlier this week that said that she was meeting with her state house representative. Her name was Kathy, and Kathy called in and asked me for advice, and she actually initially emailed me and said, Murphy, do you have any advice for me? And I said, well, Kathy, I think this might help people more broadly. Would you mind calling in and we can talk about it on air? And she said she would, and she did a couple of days ago in the 6 o'clock hour. She said, my representative's name is Afton Ben, or Bain, I learned today. Afton Bain is a local representative here in Nashville, Tennessee. And Afton has been on my show in the past. She's not been on since I've been on in afternoons, but she has been on in the past, but not lately. And she wanted to know how I would approach a conversation with Afton regarding immigration. And I won't belabor that conversation that we had. You can look it up on, Super Talk TV, YouTube, Facebook, podcast, etc. But the basic advice is find a place where you agree. Walk the subject back until you can find a place where you agree, and then go from there and see where these divergences of opinion occur. And I do believe that we have lost the art because we come at conversations like this, we come at debates like this nowadays, and I don't begrudge this, I don't blame anyone for it, but we have a predisposition to believe that the person that we're debating with is not necessarily an honest actor, that they don't earnestly believe the things that they claim to believe in. And sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's performative. Oftentimes they do, in fact, believe in the things that they claim to believe in. So I advised Kathy to start from, if you're talking about immigration, start from here. Should there be rules by which people have to abide to enter the United States of America? Should there be rules? Not talking about what rules there should be, not discussing the specific nature of the rules. We might disagree on what those rules ought to be. But should there be rules at all? And I would expect that most sane people, if not all sane people, would agree that there has to be rules in order to get into this or any country. Otherwise, you cease to be a country. Well, if we agree that there need to be rules, do we not further agree that you have to punish those who break the rules? Well, how do you do that? How do you go about doing that? And so that was kind of the nature of the conversation. Well, it was based on, I believe, this conversation that we had a couple of nights ago that I received a text message from Representative Afton Bain. And she asked me if I wanted to go have coffee. And so we did this morning. Spent a great hour together at a local coffee shop discussing how much we disagreed on certain things and, what little we agreed on. And I will say that Afton is an affable personality. She said that she stopped coming on the show, or I had invited her to come on the show in the aftermath of her chasing ICE around. And she said she stopped. She did not respond to my request to come on the show because she had been told that I was encouraging her arrest. And I was not encouraging her arrest. I did say that based on her actions, she could be arrested. And I think there's a difference. There's a difference in saying, you need to arrest this person. And, hey, I think something that this person did might lead to their arrest. One way or the other, she'll be on very soon. Based on our conversation today, I have every comfort in the world that we'll have her back on. And by the way, understand something about this radio show. I invite everyone that comes at this from an honest perspective. I mentioned this honest actor position. I don't abide fools that want to engage in shenanigans. But if you earnestly and honestly believe in the position of your viewpoint and you are of interest to this listening audience, that's it. I invite everybody on this radio show. Justin Jones, Gloria Johnson, more on her later, any Democrat. Hell, Gavin Newsom could have come on this radio show when he stopped into Tennessee. Did y'all know that, by the way? Gavin was in Nashville yesterday. Governor Gavin Newsom, East Nashville. In the old, I'm certain he's in the gentrified section. Sipping beers and having a great old time with liberal Democrats over there in East Nashville talking about how to make Tennessee blue again. Oh, yeah, Gavin is making the rounds. There is no doubt that Gavin Newsom is running for president of the United States of America. I'll tell you some of the things Gavin had to say about the differences between California and Tennessee. And I'm a little confused. If California is so great, why is everybody moving here? Why is everybody moving out? Seems odd, right?
Even In-N-Out Burger.
We're getting an In-N-Out Burger, friend. Have you ever had?
I have had In-N-Out Burger, and it's awesome.
So it's as advertised?
It's really good.
Worth the wait? What's your favorite chain burger right now?
Chain burger? Are we talking a sit-down restaurant, or are we talking a fast food joint?
Well, I mean, I'll give you the option for either, but I was thinking along the lines of, Five Guys, Whataburger, or that kind of thing.
So I'll do both. Fast food, it's Whataburger.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Casual, a slept-on burger, Chili's.
Chili's?
Yeah, casual dine-in. Chili's has a excellent burger.
Local burger, I would go...
Hugh Babies.
I've heard Hugh Babies. I've never had Hugh Babies. I've heard Hugh Babies.
You have to have it. It's so good.
You know what my current number one is?
What?
Dino's.
Haven't had Dino's.
Dino's is just a dive bar over in East Nash. Been there since the 1970s. I discovered it when I was still living in the trailer in the Grand Old RV Resort. But yeah, Whataburger's pretty high.
There's a spot in Ken's neck of the woods, Murfreesboro, Buster's. It's like a dive bar that has a great burger.
Buster's.
You ever been to Buster's, Ken?
Never been there, but I've heard I need to go.
It's a really good burger. I get it every time I go to Murfreesboro.
I know it's a chain, but what is it? Jack Brown's?
They have a great burger.
They have a great set of burgers and a great selection of beer. And they got one of those right downtown Murfreesboro as well. Great joint. Well, anyway, one way or the other, In-N-Out coming. Gavin already here, raising some cash. We'll tell you all about that. Plus, I am not here to beat this dead horse. Although I would suggest to you that beating a dead horse is more fun than you think. So we have to put a capper, at least for the time being, on the Epstein files in a way that's not going to make you very happy. And I would love to get your thoughts on it. 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. Plus, before we get out of here today, at some point, a Gloria Johnson bounty update. It's all to come on the Murphy Show on Super Talk. Yesterday, we had a listener call the show and ask me an insurance-based question that I simply did not have an answer for. It was actually a Medicare-based question, but I do have a person that I directed this caller to, and that is Shane Ring of Cover Nash, because whatever the question might be, even if it's not in Shane's field of vision in terms of ways that he can service you, he is your local expert, and he is happy to answer some of these questions for you about anything involving the health insurance marketplace. I've been to his Brentwood office. I've sat down with him. I've talked with him. He's walked me through the process. I know, and his customers know, that he is hands-on when it comes to finding you the right insurance plan for you today, not tomorrow, not next week, and not during open enrollment, but right now. If you need relief with that, trust me, as someone that just went through surgery, I value the fact that I've got great health insurance. And the reason that I do is because of Shane Ring and Cover Nash, because he's given it his seal of approval. Contact Shane and take control of your money and your health coverage. Go to covernash.com, covernash.com, or 615-465-0023, 465-0023. Hello, folks. Matt Murphy for the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Let's talk real for a minute, men. For many of you, for about a little over half of you, statistically, in your lifetime, at some point or another, you're going to lose a level of energy that is testosterone related. But it does not have to be this way. Evan Bass, who is the owner of the Tennessee Men's Clinic, and I have sat down many, many times, and we've had many discussions about this. And Evan is, frustrated in a positive way. His biggest source of frustration are the number of men that come to the Tennessee Men's Clinic after years of suffering. Through this, after years of suffering in silence, with an inability to create a level of intimacy in their romantic relationship that they once had the ability to do. Perhaps it's just a lack of energy, motivation, or drive to do things that they could do in their 40s or early 50s and they can't do anymore. Evan says it's frustrating because I know that we can help them. We have programs and plans specifically available for them if they would just make the call, like so many others have made. Qualified, discreet, their urologist can help you today, and you'll get results on the day of your first appointment. It's 615-208-9090, 615-208-9090, or online at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com.
Tennessee U.S. Senator Marsha Blackburn's pushing to reduce air traffic controller shortages and water bottles linked to blindness. We'll tell you about these stories and more coming up at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
There he is, Ken Weaver from Home Base, the Breakfast Nook. My name is Matt Murphy. I'm broadcasting live from our studios here at the butt end of Music Row. Behind the glass is Young Jackson. He's controlling the experience, screening your telephone calls, and generally speaking, making sure that everything that comes out of our speakers sounds as good as humanly possible. Yes. We will get a lot of you I mean, you mentioned favorite hamburgers, favorite mac and cheese, favorite fried chicken, and you'll get the suggestions on the super text line. And many of you are offering those. Maybe I'll go over some of those a little bit later on in the show. But I want to set this up and get your thoughts on it because I'm not letting this go away. And no, I don't know. Brian writes in and says, hey, Matt, did the homeless riot, pee, poop, and touch themselves like zoo animals in the streets to make Gavin feel at home? So good. That's so good. I don't know. I certainly hope so, Ken. I hope that they did. It'd be a nice warm welcome. The 21 poop salute.
Yes.
On the part of Nashville's homeless population, our urban outdoorsmen. I don't know if that's the case. Gavin did an interview with this leftist group, the Tennessee Holler. I've had Justin Canoe on the show in the past. Would have him back on again. It was a big bromance. I retweeted. They were loving one another. They were loving on one another. And they were talking about how awesome California is, how much Tennessee sucks. And nobody really got into the fact that California is losing population by leaps and bounds, and the state of Tennessee is gaining population as California loses it. But I can't figure that out for the life of me. If California's so awesome, why people are getting out of there as if it were some sort of Eastern Bloc Soviet nation or Soviet country. So anyway, we'll dive into some of that a little bit later on. Plus, when we return after Ken Weaver's newscast, a couple of developments and updates on the Epstein deal. I've seen this before, and this is not a matter of Democrat or Republican politic. It is a matter of how politicians handle something that they don't want to talk about anymore. And there is a tried and true fashion by which, so long as they have a relatively speaking compliant media, they walk through a specific way that they spike a story like the Epstein story. And it all relies on your inability to be patient, and it relies on our willingness to move on. And I don't know that I'm willing to move on. I don't know that I'll ever trust our Department of Justice unless we get some answers on this front. And I'll tell you exactly what I would need. And I don't need the Epstein list, but I can tell you exactly what I would need to feel a little more comfortable. We'll share that with you next and get your thoughts as well. It's time for the news on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Right now in our nation's capital, Tennessee, U.S. Senator Marsha Blackburn is pushing to reduce air traffic controller shortages. She has introduced what she calls the Control Tower Continuity Act, which would allow for air traffic controllers to remain on the job after they reach 61 years old, which is the mandatory retirement age for air traffic controllers. However, this legislation says they have to be exceptional, and anyone staying on after 61 years old is at the discretion of the U.S. Secretary of Transportation. By the way, the Federal Aviation Administration says it's short by about 3,000 air traffic controllers across the nation. A water bottle recall, the lid popping off, linked to two people hit in the face and permanently blinded. Walmart says around 850,000 water bottles it sold have been recalled after reports of two people going blind from them. We're talking about the Ozark Trail 64-ounce stainless steel insulated water bottles. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says the lid of this bottle can forcefully eject when someone tries to open it after food, carbonated beverages, or perishable beverages like juice or milk are stored in it over time. So far, Walmart says it's received 3 complaints of people being hit in the face by the lid, and 2 of them say they have permanently lost their vision. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, T Dot says there's a crash on the right shoulder. It is 40 eastbound right before Fessler's Lane. In addition to this, I'm seeing the usual buildup going northbound on 65 to get to the South Loop downtown, and then eastbound 440 over to 24. 24 eastbound looks like it's going to clear up after Bell Road, or at least get back up to a little normal speed because it's some brake tapping going on until you get there. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
You know, by now, you know that Nashville Safe House has the largest selection of home safes, gun safes, and vault doors in the Southeast because I've been telling you that for some time. And if you understand the way I do, the propensity for safes, home safes, gun safes, and vault doors in the Southeast versus the rest of the country, then by extrapolation, you know they have the best selection in the United States of America, nay, the world. Well, right now, I want to tell you about something brand new in Nashville Safe House, and that's rebates. Starting on Browning safes right now through the end of August and Liberty through July. So whether it's Liberty you're looking for or Browning, they've got them in Nashville Safe House in all manner of shapes and sizes, and they have rebates going on right now with Liberty through July and Browning safes through August. Over 500 safes in stock and ready for delivery. We only use at Nashville Safe House certified delivery crews in their area. That means, you know, some companies, I'm not casting aspersions, as they say, but some companies, sadly, they use third-party vendors, and you don't know who those people are. You don't know where they're from. At Nashville Safe House, they know exactly who they are and where they're from. Nashville Safe House is the #1 Liberty dealer in Nashville, has more Liberty safes on display than any other dealer, and don't forget Browning and Fort Knox. Nashville Safe House, the place to buy a safe. Go by 4th Avenue South or online at NashvilleSafeHouse.com. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, the Matt Murphy Show. Thank you for being around with us. I absolutely love our 4 hours that we spend together. I hope you love them too. Give us a follow on @Matt Murphy Show on the X Machine. I would appreciate that. @Matt Murphy Show on the X Machine. If you happen over to the Talk TV side of things, know that we're on Rumble right now. Hey, Jackson, did you get the email about the Rumble? Did you get that?
Let's get ready to rumble? What?
No, we're on the Rumble now. You know, the Rumble, sister or a competitor to the YouTube, the new suit. That's what I call Paul Mason, new suit. You know, because when I first came here, Mandis was old suit, and then and now Mason is new suit. But new suit sent out an email, and I can't remember if it is 997 WTN or WTN 997. But
let me effort that again.
Yeah, work that. But you can go to Rumble. If you go to Rumble, just rumble.com, and type in 997W. I think it's 997 WTN. But you have to do it specifically because we've yet to populate the page to the point that we can get there from, you know, typing in Super Talk 99.7 or just WTN. But if you type in, I want to say it's 997 WTN
you
on
are
Rumble.
Correct.
Okay, very good. Thank you. You can get to us on Rumble. A lot of you choose the Rumble route as opposed to working through Facebook or Twitter or Twitch or YouTube. And if that's the case, well, you have that opportunity now. Like and subscribe, follow us over there, and we appreciate each and every one of you. So here's our latest development on Epstein. So just to catch everyone up to speed, for those of you in Aniana that haven't been following this case, Jeffrey Epstein killed himself or did not kill himself. He was killed in 2019. He was accused of trafficking human beings for a sexual purpose. He was accused of trafficking underage minors, children. He was accused of doing so in a variety of places around the world, to include, quote unquote, Epstein Island, which involved bringing wealthy financiers and whatnot, wealthy business people and business types to the island. We don't know what went on there. The speculation has long been that Jeffrey Epstein was into blackmail. He would compromise his quote unquote investors, and then he would ultimately blackmail them to either just stay with him or for his other purposes. Bottom line is this: it was not just it was always believed by me and many, many others that it was not just Ghislaine Maxwell, it was not just Jeffrey Epstein, but it was a lot of other people that were engaging in illegal activity involving underage girls. And this developed into a concept of the Epstein list, or the Epstein Black Book, it was also called, where Epstein kept detailed records of those who had been compromised, and it was believed that whether or not it was an actual list or a list that could easily be formulated through the Black Book or other methods, that there were names on there that needed to be held to account. There were people that needed to be held to account, people in very powerful positions and posts of all political stripes, all over the globe. And many people currently in political power, to include Kash Patel as the director of the FBI, to include Dan Bongino as assistant director of the FBI, to include Pam Bondi, and yes, to include Donald Trump, have been making political promises regarding the release of this information as much as we can without putting victims' names in the public eye or compromising any potential future case. And we've long speculated on when that would happen. We were teased. Pam Bondi teased us, saying that, oh, it's on my desk, and as soon as it gets off my desk, it's going to be in the public sphere, and you'll get to see what we've seen. But now the FBI and the Department of Justice says there is no list. There are no third parties. So there is no list. I get you can use the language to your advantage, and if there's not a specific list, it's fine. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in whether or not there are other individuals that need to be prosecuted for sex crimes against minors. That's what I'm interested in. I don't give a damn how powerful they are. I want a system of justice that brings the most powerful to the courthouse, just as they would you and me, were we engaged in this type of activity. And there's a general belief that that's not going on right now because powerful people have been compromised. Add to this mix, and I don't know whether to believe him or not, but add to this mix Alan Dershowitz, who has gone through a trial to absolve his name of illegal activity involving Jeffrey Epstein. Alan Dershowitz had this to say about the Epstein files.
So let me tell you, I know for a fact documents are being suppressed. And they're being suppressed to protect individuals. I know the names of the individuals. I know why they're being suppressed. I know who's suppressing them. But I'm bound by confidentiality from a judge and cases, and I can't disclose what I know. But I hand to God, I know the names of people whose files are being suppressed in order to protect them. And that's wrong.
Just out of curiosity, without names, are these politicians, business leaders, both?
They're everything. And let me tell you, a lot of them are, at least one of them is somebody who was accused. Others are accusers. And the judges have said, if somebody calls themselves a victim, we're not going to give any information about them. But they may not be victims. They may be perpetrators. So we don't have information about false accusers. And we know there have been many false accusers who have accused innocent people for money. And those records are being deliberately, willfully suppressed. And they shouldn't be suppressed. If the accusation is allowed out, so should the material that diminishes the credibility of the accuser. We want total transparency on this. Every single document, no redaction. That's what I've said from day one. I waive any of my rights of privacy. Anything there is about me, I'm happy because it will be exculpatory, because I know I haven't touched a woman other than my wife from the day I met Jeffrey Epstein. I don't even hug people, but I was falsely accused and I was able to prove it. And I was able to prove it through documents. And I want other people to be able to disprove false accusations through documents. But these documents are being suppressed and withheld.
That is Alan Dershowitz speaking with Sean Spicer on the Sean Spicer podcast regarding what he claims to know regarding Epstein and the suppression of evidence that would point the finger at individuals who were engaged in illegal activity. Now, I've been around the block a time or two. I would like to think that I'm still a spring chicken, but I'm not. And we've seen this as political scandals go. Let me give you the dichotomy of a political scandal and how political machines attempt to squash them. The Clintons were masters of this. Masters. Bill Clinton attempted to do it with Lewinsky. It blew up in his face. No, I'm not telling that joke. It blew up in his face on that front, but did not ultimately ruin his political career. They did a similar maneuver with Whitewater. Hillary Clinton did a similar maneuver with her home brewed server that she had in her home as Secretary of State. And it goes this way. You don't go to aggressive or non-friendly media outlets at the beginning of a scandal or at the beginning of a dust-up with regard to something that you don't want to talk about. You only go to friendlies that you know will either not ask you about it or ask you about it in such a way that you can easily dismiss it. And you hope that it goes away that way. Oh, no, I'm available to the news media. Look, I did an interview on MSNBC. Said, if I'm Hillary or Bill or in this case, those that want to suppress the Epstein information. Oh, I did an interview on CNN. I did an interview on MSNBC. I did an interview at this place. I did an interview at that place. I'm not hiding anything. When you know very well that you're going to friendly people and you're getting friendly questions as a result. If the dust-up continues even against that buttress, you then hold some sort of public hearing. whether it be a seminar or a press conference or whatever it is, or you have an interview that is designed with a relatively friendly interviewer that is designed to address the accusations directly, right? So there was Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton being interviewed. I forget who was doing the interviewing. It might have been Diane Sawyer. I forget who it was. I want to say it was a woman, but it was Hillary's stand by her man moment. Y'all remember that? Where she was sitting there dutifully as the dutiful first lady. There was Bill Clinton's press conference when he bit his lip and he had his finger out. I did not have sexual relations with that woman. Lying through his teeth. But you have that moment in the press, the moment of finality, I call it, when there is a political scandal or there's a nastiness surrounding you. You have a moment of finality by which you say, I'm answering this, and then I'm not talking about it anymore. And then you answer the questions, you lie about it, you open up other questions, whatever. It doesn't matter, because the moment of finality gives you the ability to, at any point that anybody else brings the subject up again, you say, I've already spoken about that. So you have the moment of finality, interview, press conference, whatever, and then you go away for a minute, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and you let the subject matter die down. You let the conversation and the blather and the pablum, it'll be at a fever pitch. Everybody will be talking about it. He said this, he said that. What about this? What about that? You're going to let that die down as much as you possibly can. And then you pop your head back over the over the surface level. And when you pop your head back up, there will be reporters in these instances. There will be people that attempt to get to the bottom of some of the questions that came up during the moment of finality. But you know what you say to that? I've already answered this. This is old news, you say. You see how it works? Over and over again. We're in the midst of this with Epstein. The Department of Justice, Kash Patel, and look, I am just a truth teller. That's all I try to do. And this is not a reflection, in my opinion, of Donald Trump, except that it's a reflection of part of his cabinet. We were told by Dan Bongino and Kash Patel specifically, and to a lesser degree Pam Bondi, that they knew that they knew so much. I have the receipts. I can play you the clips. We know this. We know that. Kash Patel said, the FBI director has Epstein's black book. He's got it right now. Of course he's got it. He could release it. Of course he could release it. Now we're told there is no black book by Kash Patel. So Kash Patel was either lying then or he's lying now. And instead of owning up to which is which, they're telling us now through press releases, no black book, no list, he killed himself, no further information is forthcoming. And they're going to go media silent on this issue in hopes that you and I forget about it. In hopes that we love our country and love Donald Trump so much that we will move forward with all of the good things that are happening in the Trump administration. And there are plenty of good things happening. We'll move forward without continuing to ask these questions. They are hoping that eventually, over the next several weeks, all of this will go away. And it will be in the rearview mirror. Because 3 weeks from now, if any question pops up, you know what they'll say? That's old news. We've talked about that. We discussed that 3 weeks ago. Nothing's changed. And that is how you suppress a political scandal. And we're watching it happen before our very eyes. Janet, Jeff, and James, not necessarily in that order. Look, we're on the J train on the phone lines. We'll get to you next on Super Talk. Hey, folks, Matt Murphy here for Grace Point Healthcare. Grace Point Healthcare's modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way. You know, at Grace Point Healthcare, they are a direct pay environment. It is so superior to you to do it this way because it costs less money, and you know exactly what you're paying for, and you know that there's no interference between the doctor-patient relationship. At Grace Point, there's also no long wait times in the waiting room. Grace Point is your primary provider that treats the entire body and the entire family from newborns to seniors. They even do house calls. If you're sick and you're too sick to get out, call Grace Point Healthcare, and they will help you out if you're feeling too bad to leave the house. They treat the whole body. I mentioned that with a comprehensive medical approach, getting to the root of the problem, not just treating the symptoms of said issue. Why not call them today? They are military veteran-owned, and I love that about them. They treat naturally whenever possible. I love that, too. And I love the fact that they believe in that doctor-patient relationship. It is sacrosanct at Grace Point Healthcare. 599-6868, 599-6868. You really can't afford exceptional health care at your convenience. Modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way.
Learned that a major employer here in Middle Tennessee has shut down early. This story and more coming up at 4 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's not Cumulus Broadcasting, is it?
We're
I hope
still
not.
on the air, buddy.
We're still here. Hello, we're still here. We get into the news just moments from now. Janet and Jeff and James, I promised I would get to you, and I just don't want to shortchange you, but I promise this. We'll go to calls next hour on the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. A lot of you reflecting on, the way that you attempt to manage/squash a brewing media scandal. And yeah, I mean, I would agree with one of our super texters who said, and I said it at the time a couple of days ago, it was a bad look for the president of the United States, has many great things. And I am on record as saying our president of the United States has had the finest 6 months in a second term as any second term has ever been. I would put any second term of any president of the United States of America in American history up against Donald Trump's first 6 months. So he's done a lot. And a lot more to do. Should this cloud the entire administration? No. Should it cloud his entire? Of course not. But when he told us, "Oh, y'all are y'all still talking about this? Let's move on," it bothers me. And he said that just the other day. It was him that said, "Move on." And I don't know that I feel that way because I don't like the idea of there being a two-tier justice system by which rich people get away with abusing children. And that's what it feels like is happening. We will continue to discuss. 1 hour down and 3 to go on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Four o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And right now in Middle Tennessee, the Bridgestone tire plant in Laverne shut down early. Channel 4 says the company announced they ceased operations July 2nd, notifying employees in a letter that the plant was originally slated to close its doors on July 31st, but there was no need for them to report back to the plant after the July 4th holiday. Bridgestone says employees will continue to get pay and benefits through the 31st. Right now in Maryland, police and fire teams in Baltimore are on the scene of what they're calling a mass casualty overdose incident. The fire chief there says it started just before 9:30 this morning when 911 dispatched a call for a possible overdose. He says the first medics to arrive on scene found 3 people unconscious for suspected overdose. Then the scene got worse over time, and the incident is still unfolding. They've transported 15 patients to the hospital since this morning. 5 of those are priority 1, meaning that they're critical. By the way, the fire chief says they don't know what specifically is causing the overdose there in Baltimore. Water bottles sold at Walmart are being blamed for permanent blindness. So 850,000 Ozark Trail 64-ounce stainless steel bottles have been recalled. Take them back for a refund if you have one of these. The Consumer Product Safety Council says the lid of these bottles can forcefully eject when someone tries to open it after food, carbonated beverages, or perishable beverages like juice or milk are stored in it over time. So far, Walmart says it's received 3 complaints of people being hit in the face by the lid when opening the bottle, 2 of those people suffering permanent vision loss afterwards. And Ford is recalling up to about 850,000 Mustangs, SUVs, and trucks because a low-pressure fuel pump failure can lead to an engine stall, which can increase the risk of a crash. The Ford vehicles affected include the 2021 to 2023 model Ford Expeditions, Explorers, Broncos, Mustangs, Lincoln Navigators, and F-150 and 250 trucks. Ford says the vehicles may show warning signs such as engine misfiring or running rough, the check engine light coming on, or reduced engine power. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, Metro Police say there is a crash in Laverne. It's going to be Old Hickory Boulevard right there at I-24. And then in South Nashville, we got a crash reported by police 40 westbound right there at Hermitage Avenue. Looking at the map here, I see it is really slow going northbound 65 to get up to the South Loop downtown. And eastbound 440 is particularly backed up right there at Nolensville Pike. 24 eastbound is bumper to bumper, crawling right now just past 440. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hour number 2 starting right now. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Matt Murphy and you until 7 o'clock tonight. We hand off to Mark Levin at that time. It is live. It is local throughout the course of the broadcast day on Super Talk 99.7. We're on every single platform you can possibly imagine. Spotify, iHeart, TuneIn, all the rest of the podcast and music and news and information apps. We have our own Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You can find us on Talk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble now. And I am told that if you type in 997 WTN or just 997, you can get over to the Rumble side of things. We appreciate you joining us on Rumble or whatever platform you might utilize. And, of course, there's always the good old radio dial. As Ken Weaver was delivering the newscast, I was monitoring a situation that is breaking out in Ventura County, California. Federal ICE agents are conducting a large-scale immigration raid at a farm in Ventura County. The operation began earlier this morning. It triggered a volatile standoff with anti-ICE protesters rushing to the scene to disrupt the arrests. Clashes have erupted as agents move in, protesters shouting, blocking vehicles, attempting to interfere with detention. The situation has escalated now that federal employees and officers have deployed smoke canisters. They sent the crowd into chaos. A number of undocumented individuals, also known as illegal aliens, have been detained. Tensions remain high. Demonstrators continue to arrive. Federal ICE agents in a tense standoff right now. This behavior is being encouraged by liberal politicians, and it is putting ICE agents, federal officials, in danger, and it needs to stop. We've seen 2 instances. I mentioned my conversation this morning over coffee with Afton Bain. I asked her, I said, which is it, Ben or Bain? She said, it doesn't matter. And I said, but which is it? And she said, Bain. Afton Bain. I have referred to Afton as just the cutest little communist in the state of Tennessee, and she is. I told her that. Anyway, I said, we were discussing these ICE raids, and I said, and she was describing what she did and how she did not feel like she had done anything wrong because she did not feel like she impeded ICE agents during their efforts in Nashville, but yet she was documenting their movements, and she did not feel like that put them in harm's way. And I told her, I said, well, I understand, I suppose, your argument, but, you know, when we have people specifically targeting, when we have people shooting at ICE agents, it kind of hurts your argument. And Afton, and I guess I'll take her at her word this morning, she said, I don't know what you're talking about. I said, you don't know about the 2 situations in Texas where there was an individual bum rushed an ICE detention facility and shot a federal agent in the knee. There was another situation where 10 separate individuals, I guess 11, have been charged now with gathering together and conspiring with the purpose of ambushing ICE agents. One of those agents was shot in the neck, I believe. ICE agents are being shot by those that are taking politicians at their word when those politicians say that it's time to take to the streets. Very dangerous situation. We'll keep you up to date with that going on as the afternoon continues. But right now, I want to get to your calls on the issue of, either Gavin Newsom or Jeffrey Epstein. We discussed Jeffrey Epstein in the first hour of the show and how I don't believe this situation is going away, despite the fact that it is a classic case of address the issue, attempt to have a moment of finality on the issue. Donald Trump attempted that earlier this week in a cabinet meeting. I don't think that changes the fact that people have many questions, more questions now than ever, because some of the same entities that told us that they knew definitively that there was a black book, that there was a list, they're now telling us there wasn't. I gave my best take on it yesterday afternoon. Victor Davis Hanson, who is a great mind, was on with Glenn Beck, and he had this to say on the Beck podcast regarding what his best analysis was.
What do you think this is really about?
I think it's pretty clear now that Epstein had no talent other than blackmail, and he was not a financier. He was not a captain of finance at all. What he did is he invited very powerful people to his island or his New York home, filmed them, and then he bribed them, and he shook them down and said, I'm going to be your quote-unquote financial advisor, and in exchange for that, I'm not going to release all that stuff. And whether, there were some pretty big people. So why isn't it being
exposed?
Because I think I think there are people in the establishment. I don't know if they partook in his sick things he was doing, but they feel they have some association with him, and they have they gave him money to invest when there was no reason to hire someone like that. There were much better financial gurus, but he got $500 million somehow from people who were mainstream establishmentarians on the basis that he was going to blackmail him. I think that.
So Victor Davis Hanson works through the blackmail piece. I would suggest that there's a little more going on. It would not surprise me if the intelligence community had not co-opted some of the things that Jeffrey Epstein knew about individuals for their own purposes. And if that makes him, by extension, a part of certain intelligence communities, maybe so. Maybe he was an asset for those intelligence communities. I don't know. That's the problem. We don't know. And a government of the people, by the people, for the people should be transparent unless and until you present a compelling reason why you shouldn't. Here's how you get out of this. Because Kash Patel, I have the receipt. I can play it for you if you'd like. If you missed it yesterday, we played it yesterday. Kash Patel last year was on record as saying, there's a black book. The FBI has the black book. I mean, he was definitive when he said this. There is a black book. The FBI director has it. It's on his desk. And he needs to release it, or at least release what he can of it. Well, now the same guy, Kash Patel, is saying there is no black book. So you were either full of Bravo Sierra then, or you're full of it now. Bravo Sierra. Yeah, bull squeeze. You got
that's a clever one.
You got
I
it.
like that one.
You got it. You're either full of it then or you're full of it now. And you owe it from a transparency standpoint. All you have to do is come out to the press conference and be truthful. Say, listen. And I know this wouldn't satisfy everybody, but it would satisfy me a hell of a lot more. You say, listen, I know that I said a lot of things prior to becoming the director of the FBI. And that was through a lot of my intelligence sources and resources. I used trusted methods by which I kind of gathered information together. But frankly, there were some times where I shot from the hip. And I said things that I said in a definitive fact. I mean, this is hard to do, by the way. I understand that people with egos, it's a difficult thing to do. But you just admit. You admit that you were full of it then. You say, I did not know what I did not know, and I claim to know a lot of things. And now that I am director of the FBI, I've gone over all of it, and there is no black book, and there is no this or that or the other thing. Or, conversely, you say, look, I was right. There is a black book, but we can't release it. And here are the specific reasons why. You hold a press conference and you stand there and you answer every question available to you. Or you just say, you know what, y'all don't need to know. And you become, sadly, Dan Bongino created an audience and made a living discussing with his audience those things that the American people deserve to know that are being kept from them. And he created a very loyal, dedicated following on the premise that he was a truth teller that was not afraid to shake up the establishment and tell it like it is. And for those of you who are clinging, and I understand why you would, because I believe in Bongino too. I want to. I believe in Patel. I want to. But if we cling to the belief that they are still truth tellers, and many of you are saying, Matt, they destroyed all of this before they got into office. Well, then tell us that too. Tell us that it was destroyed. Why would you keep that from us if that's the case? They're not saying that. They're not saying it could have been destroyed. They're not saying it was destroyed. They're not saying that evidence was tampered with. They're saying it never existed. And I don't play for Team Republican. And as much as I support him and believe in him and love his presidency, I'm not on Team Trump. I'm on Team America. I'm on Team you. I'm on Team Liberty. And that involves transparency. Jeff is in Hendersonville. Thank you for your call, Jeff. How are you?
Hey, Matt, we still playing racquetball tonight?
What?
We still playing racquetball tonight? Are we playing racquetball tonight?
I'm here. I'm just waiting for you to get to something serious, Jeff.
Oh, hey, no, hey, not at all, not at all.
Hey, was that humor?
That was humor.
Okay. Okay.
Hey, what was humorous? Well, your boys when you were gone, I tell you what, man, it was comedy gold. Do not fall asleep on anybody's couch. Any of those guys that filled in for you, you will wake up on Broadway in a Batman suit. Trust me. But listen, in terms of Epstein or Newsom, what's the bigger?
And by the way, Jeff, before you get to it, I just didn't get the joke. I wasn't trying to be a jerk. I just didn't understand. I didn't understand the joke.
No, with your shoulder, but never mind. That's
okay. I got you.
Yeah, okay. I guess it wasn't that funny.
Yeah. No, it's all good.
But listen, what's the bigger threat? To me, listen, take it from somebody who's lived under it. I have a lot of Democrat friends in California, specifically L.A. and San Diego. They're leaving Tennessee, and those are Democrats. They want no part of Newsom. It is a clear and present danger. I mean, if you are of the progressive mindset that you want to destroy anything existent in the U.S., Gavin's your guy. Trust me. There's no way the guy should go national. It's a frightening proposition, and I'm insulted he was even in Tennessee. But in terms of Epstein, I'm just hoping maybe they're playing 3D chess here, and maybe there's a troll going on here we just don't know about. But damn, they sure did lose a lot of credibility, and to me, it's a real stain on what's been a pretty exemplary ride since November and specifically January when Trump took office. I think they need to come clean.
Yeah, I mean, I wish it were so. I don't think that they are going to. And let me tell you. And thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff, for the call. And I think I can still play racquetball with my right hand. Just give me a couple of weeks. I'll be in there. The way that I think all of this will play out is as I have described it. I do believe that the Department of Justice will go silent on this issue. I don't believe that Pam Bondi will entertain questions on it. I don't think that Kash Patel is going to hold a press conference. He doesn't have to. I don't believe that Dan Bongino is going to speak to it. He doesn't have to. And they'll let it lie. The next time that they find themselves in an open forum in which people who are predisposed to want to know more of the truth, you get a question out, and a month from now, they're going to tell you that's old news. And they're going to say, that's old news. We've already answered all of those questions, and we're not taking questions on that subject, and they'll move on from it. That's the way that they're going to do it until people like us just accept it. That's the play. They don't care about liberals, and nor should they. Liberals are always going to liberal. They believe that the good that the Trump administration is doing, and it's a lot of good, they believe all of that good will eventually cover up Epstein. Like a cat covering up a turd in a litter box. That's what they believe. Shane, Scott, Philip, Marie, hang in. More to come on Super Talk. Folks, everyone in Tennessee, if you're a homeowner, you are threatened by termites. That's right. It's a hidden threat, but a threat nonetheless. Termites, you know what they like? They like to eat wood, and they want to get to yours, and they want to eat it up unless you have been protected with a termite protection, a preventative and corrective service measure by U.S. Pest. U.S. Pest, J.K. and Erica Brister, they're great people. They're great Americans, and they're great owners of U.S. Pest. And there's two things that I always like to tell people about them. They love, love, love the United States of America. You'll see it in their red, white, and blue signage. You'll see it if you see a billboard around. You'll always see an American flag flying above that billboard because that's the way they roll. And you'll know it when you meet one of their qualified techs when they come out to your home for a full service consultation at absolutely no cost to you. They'll give you a free consultation at no cost to you. That's one thing. They love the United States. The second thing is they hate bugs, and you'll find that out too. Cannot stand the things. So outside your home, inside of your home during the summer months, the bugs are propagating. You need to get rid of them through US Pest. Go to uspest.com or 590-1260. 590-1260.
A Nashville mother accused of shooting her teen daughter. And the United States has a plan to take out flesh-eating maggots. These stories and more coming up at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Wait a minute, Ken, but I'm a little flesh-eating. You mean Democrats? No? I'll just have to listen to the story. I'll just listen to the story and get back with you, Brother Ken.
All right, Brother.
26 after. I just heard the side of, flesh eating. Oh, those are the Democrats. 26 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. As promised, back to your call. Shane is next. Hey, Shane.
Hey. So a couple of years ago, there were some guys that would sue each other and their friends to get on court TV. Now, what would be, and maybe it's a Friday question, but what would be a plan, like if you and I got together and said, we're going to do this thing, and I take a full-page ad out of the Tennessean saying Matt Murphy is on the Epstein list, and you sue me for defamation, but the only way to figure it out would be to expose that list.
Wait, so you're suggesting this as a method by which you expose the information?
Yes.
Well, the courts, I think Alan Dershowitz was relating his effort to clear his name, and the courts he was privy to that information, but they intentionally suppressed the information from public availability. What they do is they use the shield of the victim, right? They say that there are so many victims in the case. In order to open up these files, you would expose the victims to scrutiny, and in doing so, that would be wrong. So they seal the case, is what happens. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying that's what happens. But I mean, I like the idea. Or better yet, just. If anything else, and thank you, Shane, for the call, I'm just asking for Dan Bongino and Kash Patel and Pam Bondi to take this as representatives of the Trump administration as seriously as they seemed to take it before they were. Is that too much to ask? They took this very seriously when Pam Bondi was down in Florida. And when Bongino was on the radio, and when Kash Patel was a guest on so many radio shows and podcasts, they took it incredibly seriously and seemed to have a lot of information that now suddenly they say doesn't exist. What I would like is for them to take that this seriously and hold a press conference and say, look, this is what we thought we knew. This is what we know now. This is what we found out. This is why we can't just... They haven't even held a press conference. They floated they made promises, guys. Well, I don't mean to belabor it. I'm not trying to act like this is. I mean, it's important to me because I don't like the idea of rich people, based on the very nature of their wealth, getting away with child rape. Do you? And I feel like that's what's happening. And even if we never get the answers that we want, at least have the respect for the American people to demonstrate a recognition of the concern. At least respect me enough to stand before a podium and answer questions, even if the answers are, I can't answer that question. Explain to me why it was that you were so sure. Once again, need I say it more? The man himself said he had the information. He knew about the information. He told us everything that he knew. That's Bongino. Patel, too. And now they're saying that the things that they claim to know never existed. Well, now you're kind of treating me like I'm Boo-Boo the Fool. It's 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
4:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And right now in Nashville, a 39-year-old mother is charged with child abuse and gun possession while intoxicated. She allegedly shot her teenage daughter this morning inside their Savannah Drive apartment. Chantrell Allen, jailed in lieu of a $105,000 bond. Police say Allen and her 16-year-old daughter had been arguing all night and into early this morning. When the teen closed the door of her bedroom and held it shut, mom is alleged to have pulled a gun and shot through the door, a bullet going into her daughter's left hand. Money news, mortgage rates ending a 5-week decline in borrowing costs for home buyers. The long-term rate ticking up to 6.72% from 6.67% last week. That's a half a percentage point. Borrowing costs on the 15-year fixed rate increased to 5.86% from 5.80%. Meanwhile, Realtor.com says more homeowners are pulling their listings from the market because they're not seeing the interest they thought they might be. Delistings surging 47% in May compared to a year earlier. By the way, the median list price for a home here in the U.S. is now $440,950, according to Realtor.com. Homes sitting on the market at a median of 53 days, which is 5 days more than at the same time last year. U.S. government preparing to breed billions of flies and dump them out of airplanes over Mexico and southern Texas to fight a flesh-eating maggot. They are the New World screwworm flies, and the method is said to be more effective and environmentally friendly than spraying, and apparently worked to eradicate this pest in the U.S. and other nations decades ago. It works like this. They breed these flies, the males, billions of them, as sterile. And then they mate with the females, who then lay eggs with nothing in them. Sterile flies from a factory in Panama apparently kept the flies contained there for years, but the pest showed up in southern Mexico late last year. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Right now, Laverne, police reporting a crash at Old Hickory Boulevard and I-24. Then 40 westbound in Hermitage Avenue, and then 440 eastbound at I-24. In Madison, you have the off-ramp partially blocked, 65 northbound to Old Hickory Boulevard. There's a crash there. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center. Dr. Brian McLaughlin is now in charge of helping you sleep better on a nightly basis, get a more restful night's sleep, and benefiting your health as a result. Let's talk about this. He's taken over the practice from Dr. Stephen Poss, who is retiring over the course of the summer this year. I encourage you to go see Dr. McLaughlin and see the difference that he can make in your life and in your sleep, especially for those of you who snore or perhaps have been diagnosed with sleep apnea. They customize a fabricated oral appliance, which is FDA approved. It's clinically proven. Friends, this simply works. And don't just take the word of Dr. McLaughlin, or you don't have to take my word for it, because I live through it. I experience it. I am a user of one of these devices, and it works. Keeps the airway open. You breathe throughout the course of the night. As a result, you wake up more refreshed. You don't stop breathing, and there are no health detriments in your life. and they significantly cut down on the potential for heart disruption, blood pressure issues. Just go over to the website, TennesseeSleep.com, to find out more information. 2 locations, one in Murfreesboro and one in Brentwood. TennesseeSleep.com. It can be hard to find someone you trust when it comes to large home repairs, such as your AC, your air conditioning. Man, oh man, if your AC goes out, I have the name for you. It's Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling. I had a loyal listener contact me. I won't name them because I did not ask to name them, but a loyal listener contacted me and said, hey, Jeff or one of his techs, they're coming out today to check on that AC. And I say the same thing to every person that contacts me, and I say it to you. Just let them know that, Matt Murphy, they're going to treat you like family because they treat everyone like family. I trust that Jeff and his team will do the right thing every time. They're going to fix what ails your AC, and if they're unable to do so for whatever reason, if it's time, they'll let you know that. And you can trust that they're going to lead you in the right direction with regard to what the replacement unit should be. They're an Elite Pro partner with Rheem, have financing options available for you because they understand that, like us all, you're a baller on a budget. EfficientHVAC.net. That's EfficientHVAC.net or 615-784-4424 for Efficient. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Oh, we're getting did you know? Oh, I just dropped something. One-handed, baby. I'm literally doing this radio show. Does any other host have trouble with this microphone? Because if you just let it go like this, watch this. Are you watching on Talk TV? You watch on TV, you go boop, and it goes boop. I'm literally doing the radio show with one arm tied behind my back. It was, I can't hear you. It was Limbaugh who, I can't hear you.
My favorite was when the mic fell on you and you said dadgummit. That was a really good one.
Oh, thanks.
It was a good dadgummit.
I give a dadgummit every once in a while.
Oh, dadgummit.
Yeah, it was Limbaugh that used to say that he did the radio show with half his brain tied behind his back just to make it fair. He was the best. All right, we'll put a capper on the Epstein conversation. Look, nothing else to say but this. I don't like the idea of powerful people using their wealth and influence to keep themselves from justice. And I truly believe it is happening. And I also don't like the idea of individuals who ran around making a lot of promises about what they knew and what they didn't know and what they found out, and their sources said this and their sources said that. And now when it comes time to get down there to where the goats can graze on it, they tell us, well, none of that exists. Trust us, they say. Those same individuals that said trust to no one. I don't trust the Department of Justice. I don't trust the FBI. And I don't care who's in charge of it. But we'll get to a few more of your calls and move on from it, talk about a few other matters. Hello, Scott.
Hey, good afternoon. I just wanted to say I truly think the Trump administration knows about it and knows who's out there, and it's just world leaders as well as politicians, as well as clergymen, justices, all of them. So I really think what they've done is they've seen, for example, Adam Schiff. I mean, he can come and literally lie to the people. And I remember him saying on interview after interview that he has seen, that list and it's damning and everything. And then with the Hillary dossier, that was a straight lie. Anyway, my point is that Trump knows that nothing's ever going to happen to these people. So I really think he's using it to his advantage around the world. Why not go around the world and say, hey, listen, guess what I got? I got this document. How about dropping some oil? Hey, how about doing this? And I really think he's doing that, and I think he's doing it in Congress as well. Hey, you guys don't want to sign this bill? Hey, look at this piece of paper. I'd hate for it to get out somehow. And I truly think that's what he's doing. And I don't know if it's good or bad, but I figure if we're not going to put anybody in jail and these clowns never seem to go, then let's use it to our advantage and get things done. I don't know if that's good or bad, but that's truly what I think is going on. Because remember, he's always 3 or 4 steps ahead of the game.
No Democrat voted for the big, beautiful bill.
Exactly.
Is that to suggest that no Democrat was compromised? I mean, if you're right, why wouldn't more Democrats have voted for it?
Well, I think if they all stay together, they don't have to worry on something like that.
I just, it would, well, I don't dismiss your theory. It is what it is. But I would say this, Scott, if you're right, that's disgusting.
It's absolutely disgusting.
And I don't believe, I mean, maybe I'm reading it wrong, but I don't believe our man would do that. I don't believe Donald Trump would say, hey, child rapist, if you don't do what I want you to do politically, I'm going to bring you to justice. But otherwise, I'll let you get away with it.
But I don't think he's going to let him get away with it. I think when the end, somehow or another, it's still going to be coming out. Because think about this. If we hear about it a year or two later and say this is why we did it, are we going to be upset? No, because all we really want to do is see who's behind those names and who's involved anyway. And however we see it, we're fine with it.
Well, my predictions have yet to be wrong regarding this. I've been wrong a lot over my career, but I haven't been wrong about this because I said from the beginning that we would never see – there would never be any third party that comes to justice over this, and we would never see any of this. And I believe that this is their way of permanently spiking this story. That's my belief, and we'll see. We'll see. And thank you, Scott, for the call. And I understand that politics is the ultimate blood sport. It's the ultimate hardball. And and Donald Trump is the best that we have ever seen at creating leverage and then using that leverage to his own advantage. I do not believe that that's what he's doing in this case. Because I don't want to believe it. Because I want to believe that he's a better person than that. Philip is next.
Yeah, how you doing?
Hey, Philip. I'm doing good. I hope you are.
Oh, I'm doing okay. I just wonder how many people's on that list y'all keep talking about. Wouldn't you like to just catch them all at once or let the list down there all hit for non-extradition countries?
Well, I've said, Philip, and thank you for the telephone call. I've said that I don't believe that there's a list per se, but I do believe that there's a treasure trove of information. We were told at one point it's 300 gigabytes of information from a computer perspective. There is so much information, so much video, so many transcripts, so much surveillance film that you use all of that, you go over all of that, and you pull together those third parties who have been involved to the point that you believe that you can create a case against those third parties. That's your quote-unquote list. I don't believe that it's like a piece of paper. I don't – oh, look, here's the list, and here's John Schmo and Joe Doe and whatever. I don't think that's the case. Some would suggest that was his black book. Now we're told that doesn't exist. But I do believe that there are indictable people that are going to be getting away with disgusting behavior because powerful people would just as soon all of this go away. And when I say powerful people, I mean I'm talking powerful people with lots of money and a tremendous amount of influence. One or two more on this, and we move away from it. Star is next on Jeffrey Epstein. Hey, Star.
Hey, thank you for taking my call. And I agree with most of everything that you're saying. And like everybody else, the whole thing just sits really badly with me. One of the things that I found curious was the timing that it was released. So, I mean, we have, the big, beautiful bill being signed, the 4th of July, we have this big holiday weekend, everything's going well. And then, bam, this comes out, and it comes out as if the American people are not going to care whatsoever. And I found it odd that, previous to this, you have Elon and Trump and their feud before the whole 12-day war. Elon, says his thing about Trump being on the list, and then it kind of gets quiet. And then the big, beautiful bill gets signed. Elon says, hey, if that gets signed, the next day I'm making the America Party. So on the 4th, the bill gets signed. On the 5th, he makes the American Party. And then on the 6th, the DOJ releases this. And I find that kind of odd. I don't know what it really means, but it is something that struck me as interesting.
So I guess based on what you're saying, do you believe that Elon knows what he claims to know? I feel like Elon's shooting off at the lip.
And it could be something that maybe he knows something, or maybe it's to, instigate further. I really don't know. Trump does certain things for, like he plays a good game of chess. So I'm not sure if it's just to squash it or if it's to ignite something, because, it obviously is. We've, all news can be good news in some ways because it gains attention. And it seems obvious to me that this disclosure from the DOJ would gain a lot of attention. I don't think that they would not have anticipated our reaction to this. And then Trump coming out and just really scolding the reporter, like, why are you asking about this? This is old news.
Well,
old news.
and I wish, and you bring that up, and I felt like, as much as I love the guy, it was a bad moment for Trump.
Yeah.
And I wish there had been someone in the room, and I understand in the heat of the moment it's hard to do, that was willing to say, Mr. President, we're bringing it up because y'all promised this to us, the American people. Your administration promised transparency in all things, including the Epstein files. And your administration, including Pam Bondi, said that she had the information from the Southern District of New York on her desk, and that once she went through it, she would release that which she was able to release while redacting victims' names. And now she's telling us there's nothing to release? Sir, that strains credibility. And just to see how they respond to that, because that's the way I feel about it. This is an issue because they made promises. My grandpa used to have the saying, Star, that, your mouth's writing checks that your butt can't cash.
Right.
And that's the way I feel like the Epstein thing is going.
Well, it's a shame. And I think that everybody that can be held accountable should, if we're going after, all these other violent, dangerous criminals and sex traffickers and pedophiles. We 100% should be going after the ones in those films and that information as well.
Well, and
I should be held accountable.
And I agree with you, and thank you for the call. And I know that it's creating a rift between amongst Trump supporters, and I'm a Trump supporter. But there are things that I value more than Donald Trump. I value the Constitution. I value freedom. I value liberty. I value equal justice under the law. I value John's call. Hello, John.
Hey, Matt. Hope all is well with you.
Yes, sir.
Your arm's feeling good.
Doing well.
Thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
I really wanted to highlight, for me anyways, just kind of sitting back and listening to this whole Epstein thing and people talking about it. And it's just like the same things keep happening over and over again. And you have that group of people who are want to justify everything. Well, Trump this, Trump that, or Pam Bondi. At the end of the day, all these folks, they're all lying to us one way or the other. We're never going to get to the truth of the matter because, like you said, it's very, very powerful people that it implicates. And those people are never going to allow themselves to be implicated.
Yeah, I fear that's where we're going to get with it. I fear that, you know what? Will it totally destroy this? It's not going to do anything other than continue our frustration and our belief that if you are rich enough and powerful enough, that in certain circumstances, particularly in this one, thanks, John, for the call, that you can get away with things. And it seems as if they're going to get away with this. That's the frustrating aspect of this. I think I put John on hold as opposed to put him on. Just thank him for his call, and we'll move on from it. All right, we'll maybe finish a little bit of this up. We'll get into the Chattanooga chicken story. I brought this up yesterday late in the show, and it's just an interesting exercise to me because we all draw our lines in slightly different places about where we believe appropriate government intervention should come, right? And I find it interesting that many people that believe in liberty and claim that they believe in autonomy and your ability to live a life of your own choosing, unfettered by others or government, how that can change when you are faced up front and center with what you believe to be a violation of your civil liberties or rights. And there's an interesting case in Chattanooga that illustrates the point. We'll talk about that coming up in a moment. Your calls coming up as well as the Murphy Show continues 52 minutes after 4 o'clock on Super Talk. Hey, kids, it's Matt Murphy for Stoltz Co. Let's talk about Stoltz Co. Man, have you been to the website? It really is difficult for me, and I say things for a living. I try to draw word pictures for a living, but it's difficult for me to express the quality structure that you get from Stoltz Co. in words alone. What I encourage folks to do is go over to the website and see the incredible pole barns, the beautiful garage spaces, the event spaces, the equestrian arenas, and yes, the barn dominiums built by Stoltz Co. You can participate as much or as little in the project as you desire, meaning that you can have a hand or in every step of the process, or you can meet with Stoltz Co., talk about your dreams, talk about what you want, and give them the go-ahead, and they'll hand you the keys when they're done. I mean, it's just that level of service that they provide you, that turnkey service, or allowing you to really act as your own general contractor throughout the course of the process. They build high-quality, customized structures at reasonable prices. They're the leading company when it comes to the creation of post-frame buildings like I just described. If you're looking for a future home, if you're looking for an in-law suite, if you're looking for a place to retire in, whatever you're looking for, they can get it for you at Stoltz Co. Go to stoltzco.com, stoltzco.com, or call 615-622-5992, 622-5992 for Stoltz Co.
Huge cuts coming quickly. Artificial intelligence is replacing thousands of jobs at two major job search companies. These stories and more at 5 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. We look forward to those. There's a debate going on in Chattanooga right now. Apparently, I guess the city of Chattanooga is trying to decide whether or not, as a municipality, to remove a restriction on your ability to own chickens in your backyard. Right now, Chattanooga restricts chicken ownership to 2 acres and up. And there are advocates that are attempting to get that restriction lifted so that anybody and everybody that wants to own chickens in their backyard would be able to do so. You know what? I guess there might be an argument to be made against roosters. I don't see the argument against chickens, and I don't believe the government should interfere in our lives to the point that they prevent us from feeding our chickens. But you know what? Where does it stop? At some point, does it stop? Do you want a little mini hog farm in the backyard of your neighbor's house or whatnot? We'll discuss coming up in just a moment or two on the Super Talk 99.7 WTN text line as well as the phone lines. I love this. I got this from the Super text line. I can't remember who put it in. Said, I want Kash Patel to investigate my mortgage. See what you did there? See what he did there? I'd like him to do. Yeah. Hey, we've investigated Ken Weaver's mortgage. We've discovered there's no mortgage.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I like hearing it. All right. Time for the news. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We are halfway home on this Thursday edition of the Matt Murphy Show. Thank you for being with us. We'll catch you up on news, weather, all the events you need to know about. Check the roadways, and we'll be back for the second half of the broadcast on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Five o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And now that the Supreme Court is allowing President Trump to move forward with an executive order mandating a restructure of federal agencies and mass layoffs of federal workers, the State Department says it's moving forward with its plan. Spokesperson Tammy Bruce today says it's going to happen quickly. She says this is not going to be an extended wait for people who are listening and watching in the building or fellow Americans at home and around the world. She says this will happen quickly, but did not give a solid date. Meanwhile, the State Department launching a new website specifically built to send one message to Americans: do not travel to Iran. Tammy Bruce saying the bombings may have stopped, but that doesn't mean Iran is safe. Well, the owner of job search companies Indeed and Glassdoor is cutting about 1,300 jobs to use artificial intelligence instead. In an email to employees today, Recruit Holdings CEO said that AI is changing the world and that the company must adapt accordingly. The layoffs represent about 6% of Recruit Holdings' workforce. The CEO adding that about 1/3 of the company's new programming code is written by AI, and that he expects that figure to jump to 1/2. He says pretty soon. There's a certain water bottle sold at Walmart that isn't safe. Around 850,000 Ozark Trails 64-ounce stainless steel insulated water bottles sold at Walmart have been recalled after reports of 2 people going blind from them when the lid popped them in the face when they opened them. The Consumer Product Safety Council says the lid of the bottle can forcefully eject when a user attempts to open it after food, carbonated beverage, or perishable beverages like juice or milk are stored in it over time. So far, Walmart says it's received 3 complaints of people being hit in the face by the lid when opening the bottle, and 2 of those people suffering permanent vision loss afterwards. So if you purchased any one of these Ozark Trail stainless steel 64-ounce bottles, you're asked to stop using them and contact Walmart for a full refund. Ford is recalling up to 850,000 Mustangs, SUVs, and trucks because a low-pressure fuel pump failure can lead to an engine stall, which can increase the risk of a crash. The vehicles affected include 2021 to 2023 model Expeditions, Explorers, Broncos, Mustangs, Lincoln Navigators, and F-150 and 250 trucks. Ford says the vehicles may show warning signs such as engine misfiring or running rough. the check engine light coming on, or reduced engine power. And the parent company of Ritz Crackers is recalling 4 carton sizes of Ritz peanut butter cracker sandwiches due to incorrect labeling that says they are cheese, not peanuts, which is dangerous to allergy sufferers. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, in Clarksville, we've got a crash reported by police 24 eastbound at MLK Parkway. Here in South Nashville, 40 westbound at Hermitage Avenue, and in Madison, a crash partially blocking the off-ramp 65 northbound to Old Hickory Boulevard. In Jolton, there's a crash reported by the Highway Patrol 24 eastbound between Whites Creek Pike exit 35 and Old Hickory Boulevard exit 40. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show, Super Talk 99.7 WTN, just after 5 o'clock. Good afternoon. How's it going, everyone? Hope you're having a great afternoon, a great day so far. We'll try to get you home in the proper fashion. You know, occasionally try to commiserate with those of you who get into your cars maybe at 4:30, 4:45, 5 o'clock. You get into the car, you get it nice and cool, get it cooled down a little bit, and then off you go. You're heading on home. And sometimes, for some of you, it might take 10 minutes. For some of you, it might take, half hour, 45 minutes or whatever. And occasionally, because, Jackson, you mentioned this just a day or so ago. You said, one of the bonuses, and there aren't many, but one of the bonuses of working this show is what? I cannot hear you. Now I can hear you.
I was in Weaver mode. My fault. Sorry. Traffic on the way home.
Traffic on the way home. Yeah, you don't have to deal with the heavy flow, as they say. But occasionally, and I don't either. And it's one of the beautiful things about working the afternoon drive time. Not only do I get to talk to all of you who are in your automobiles, and thank you, every single one of you. Thank you, and thank you, and thank you, and not you. Thank you, and thank you, and thank you. I get to talk with you. I get to hopefully inform and entertain you, and maybe make the drive a little more pleasant in some form or fashion. Oftentimes that's in the form of yelling. But occasionally I like to commiserate with you, and I do that by pulling up my my traffic map on my phone, which I've just done.
That's torture.
My God.
Oh, it's awful.
It is brutal. The entire thumb of the loop. You know, I look at a map of Nashville, and the loop is like your thumbprint. It's like you're holding up your thumb. That's what the loop is, your little thumb there. And the entire loop is red. Entire loop.
It's me and you both used to get off the air at 3.
Mm-hmm.
So
go home about 3:45, 4 o'clock a lot of times.
And that traffic was brutal.
Vicious.
And we live in a similar area. So we're taking the same way home.
And that 40?
At 40 East is a nightmare.
It's not as bad as 24. Not as bad as 24. Well,
the thing is that split causes backups on 40.
Well, that's right. It does before you get to it.
That 24-40 split is the worst part of that traffic.
It's just gross. And today is no exception. So I'm feeling for you. If you're stuck in it, all I can tell you is that it'll be there when you get there, unless what it is ice cream, and then maybe it won't be there. Maybe it'll just be a puddle of nothing. But for the most part, it'll be there when you get there. You know what? Alleviate the pain of sitting in traffic by giving us a call or a super text. That's right. I said it. Text and drive. 615-737-9986.
Well,
no, is that not good? Is that a bad? That's not a good.
We run some promos that tell you not to do that. Let's go ahead and not text.
Let's go.
But if you're just sitting parked in traffic, standstill traffic, like a lot of people I know are, give us a text.
You know what I would like? I'd like some photos. I'd like some photographs from on the super text line of folks stuck in traffic. 615-737-9986. Earlier today, a Democrat who makes regular appearances on Fox News had something to say about the current state of immigration, specifically illegal immigration in the United States of America. And for the better part of an hour, I had a conversation with Representative Afton Bain about this morning. If you missed earlier in the show, I explained that Afton reached out to me after I've had several conversations about her and her candidacy for the 7th Congressional District. You know, Mark Green is retiring. A number of Republicans are running to replace him. 2 Democrats are running in their primary to face off against the Republican victor, be it, whoever it might be. Those 2 Democrats are Bo Mitchell and Afton Bain. Well, we've had Afton on the show in the past, and I disagree with her politics, and she disagrees with mine. But that doesn't mean that we cannot continue to discuss. And I invite all comers on this radio show, and I would appreciate it if more Democrats took me up on it. I'm just here to allow you to present your viewpoint. Just be an honest actor and present your view. And be ready, willing, and able to defend it. That said, Afton asked me if I wanted to have some coffee, and I did. And we had a very pleasant hour or so long conversation about immigration, about her activity during the ICE raids of a couple of weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago in Nashville, about what the response was. The response was, the negative response was in some ways over the top, she felt like, in some of the personal communication that she received from anonymous people, and I can understand that too, but I feel like what she did was over the top. So there it is. In a different way. That said, we discussed our differences of opinion on the issue of illegal immigration and a difference of opinion on what to do about legalizing or bringing the immigration process into the 2025 year in as much as we can create better legal avenues. And I don't have anything against having those discussions, but I think you have to deal with the illegal alien problem first. And that's where some of this kind of starts breaking down. Now, I mentioned earlier today that ICE and federal immigration officials were having a face-off with protesters who more and more are being encouraged by leftist Democrats to engage in street violence. And boy, have the protesters responded. Over the last week, we've seen 2 violent incidences that have left ICE agents shot as a result of the level of violence. And you know what? You can watch CNN all day long and twice on Sunday, and you won't see anything about it on #NeverCNN because it doesn't fit their damn narrative. Well, Jessica Tarlov is a Democrat strategist, and she appears on Fox News as a Democrat voice from time to time, and she had this to say.
They need to cooperate with ICE to hand over people who have been convicted of something. I'm not talking about crossing the border as something that is convictable. I'm saying that if you commit a crime once you are on U.S. soil, you should be turned over to ICE. And I think that's an easy exchange. And that's what people voted for in November. And you would have a much stronger case against the overreach that we're seeing in terms of what ICE is doing now that is not commensurate with what the American public wants. They didn't vote for people to show up at Home Depots. They didn't vote for people to show up at immigration courts. They didn't vote for the fact that there's new data out from Cato that 65% of the people that ICE has taken into custody have had no convictions. They need.
Okay, so I want you to catch the last portion, and this is from, once again, Jessica Tarlov. She is a part of the 5. I never watched the 5. Obviously, I'm a little busy when the 5 is on, but it used to be one of my go-tos. I enjoyed the exchange of ideas. But Tarlov is kind of the token leftist on that show. And listen to what she says, and I want to hear from you because I don't think she knows what the hell she's talking about. I promised on the X machine that I would ask the audience today because I speculate that this is exactly what Trump voters voted to support. Here's what Tarlov said again.
The American public wants. They didn't vote for people to show up at Home Depots. They didn't vote for people to show up at immigration courts. They didn't vote for the fact that there's new data out from Cato that 65% of the people that ICE has taken into custody have had no conviction.
She says you didn't vote for people to show up at detention, immigration court, and have them arrested, that you did not vote for ICE to show up at Home Depot. As I told Ms. Bain earlier today, Representative Bain, and I've said to you regularly, I understand we're talking about human beings, and I feel bad for them. I feel bad for the people that were lied to by Democrats all these many years ago. Democrats lied to them, and some Republicans. They lied to them and they told these illegal aliens that if you just come here and lay low long enough and don't commit any other crimes, that everything will be fine and you'll be allowed to stay. And it was never true. It was never true. And it never will be. There have to be rules. And in order for those rules to matter at all, we have to follow them. And in order for us to follow them at all, there have to be consequences for those breaking the rules, because otherwise, why have the rules to begin with? And one of those consequences would be you have to go back and you have to start the process over again. Now, I believe that we will get to a point in this process, whether it's 5 years, 8 years, 10 years, in terms of length of time being here, that at some point we have scratched the surface enough that we need to draw the undocumented illegal alien out of the shadows and figure out a way that we can either process them, fine them, punish them in some fashion for their illegal activity, and allow them to stay. There are some that would suggest that we just root them all up and send them all home. And at that point, you're talking about 35 million people is my best estimate. It's somewhere between 0 and 35 million that we have to, I mean, we're all going to draw the line in a slightly different place. 9009 said, I voted for the policy that you are illegal, you get ejected. 0404 says, for all that, bring it. If 65% didn't commit a crime, then put them through the process. 4632, that's exactly why I voted for Trump. 1998, this is exactly what I voted for. Exactly. 8550, 1 billion% what I voted for. I think that's right. Dawn Jones, I can't stand her. 1733, I can't tell if you're being sarcastic about State Representative Bean being the cutest little communist in Tennessee or not. She isn't a looker by any means. Maybe she looks better in person. I'm just being funny. I'm just being funny. I don't see people by their looks. I see people based on what's in their heart. I'll leave it up to you to decide the rest. 5281, she's a straight-up dummy. That's exactly why we voted for Trump. And on and on and on it goes. Send the ball home. Jay says, I don't think people discuss the specifics of getting rid of the bad hombres. It's a blanket. I don't care where they get them from. Look, you ran the risk, and you should have known this, that if you jumped the line and did not do it the appropriate way, you ran the risk of potentially it coming back to bite you on the tuchus, and now that is happening. You made that bed. I did not. And you probably made it full of promises by Democrats that they would make it okay. Well, they didn't make it okay. And America is pushing back because America is not going to be France. We are not going to be Europe. We see what's happening in Europe with unvetted and unfettered immigration of all sorts and shapes and sizes, and what that can do to culture. And we want to absorb positive aspects of culture from around the world, but we're not prepared to absorb the rest. And we're certainly, sure as hell, not going to absorb the lawbreakers. Hello, Ed. Good afternoon. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. I hope your mending continues to go well.
Yes, sir.
I signed up for every bit of the eviction of the illegal immigrants in the United States, and it to me, what you're talking about the Epstein thing, to me, that's a double standard. There's a double standard. There's a standard for someone that has influence and power. They don't get in trouble. They don't get held accountable, just like illegal aliens. If we don't at some point start to hold those folks accountable and exit them from our economic system and our citizen pool, then that is a double standard, and then that reduces the validity and worth of your citizenship and mine if we do not rid the United States of all of those people. We do not have a two-class system in the United States. It is one. It is not illegal and legal. It should just be legal citizens that are in the United States, and I appreciate you taking my call.
Thank you very much for it, Ed. I mean, I appreciate the perspective. I might have a slight variance of your perspective on that, but I certainly appreciate that, and it's shared by many, many of the listeners of this audience. I understand that we bear some of the responsibility in some of this, and for those who have grown such lengthy roots in America and in American culture, frankly, those individuals that came here even illegally 20 years ago, 25 years ago, so many years ago, those that have the gumption and the wherewithal to try to get out of the shadows have already done so in a lot of ways. I mean, there are mechanisms by which you can do it. It's hard. Don't get me wrong. It's hard as hell. But you can do it if you truly desire to. Coming up in just a couple of moments, I mentioned that Gavin Newsom was in East Tennessee. We'll follow up on that story. Plus, a great story, a fabulous story about two very, very deserving individuals. And by deserving, I mean deserving of going into jail. We'll share that story with you coming up next. Plus, nincompoops later on in the hour at Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Why, hello, folks. Matt Murphy here for the Wellness Institute of Nashville. I made the switch and went with Dr. Mitch some time ago because Dr. Mitch, Dr. Ashley, they are simply the best when it comes to spinal pain, back pain, neck pain, knee pain, all things where it hurts. They can assist. Their state-of-the-art non-surgical spinal decompression, knee decompression, elongates the disc. It takes pressure off the nerve. They have anti-gravity machines, robot lasers, and other high-tech stuff that can help you today with your pain, without surgery, without spinal injections, without painkillers. That's what it's all about. All you need to do is come on in and make an appointment, and they can help you at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. It's why they have my seal of approval. And here's a deal that could just change your life, literally. The Big Daddy Trump special, $12. $12. I thought for the first 3 times I read this, I was reading it wrong, but it's right. $12 for a comprehensive exam, x-rays if needed, a diagnosis, and a first treatment. That's not going to last forever, folks. Call 615-246-5009, 246-5009. That's 615-246-5009, or go to painisbad.com. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to the Wellness Institute of Nashville. There are a lot of diagnoses out there. There's a pill for everything. Not all diagnoses are accurate, however. Not all pills are good for you either. Hey, it's Matt Murphy. And if you get a diagnosis for European auto repair, I encourage you to get a second opinion, especially if you don't take my advice and go to Eurofix first. I think you should go to them first. But if you don't, before you spend hundreds or even thousands of dollars on European auto repair, what about a diagnosis from Eurofix? It can not only save your vehicle's life, but it can save you a tremendous amount of money and a lot of stress that goes along with, frankly, ruining your weekend by getting a misdiagnosis, if you will. Be happy and go to Eurofix. You'll get a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection, never a high-pressure sales tactics, a 3-year nationwide warranty, a loaner car with every visit. They're in 5 separate locations, and I could not be happier endorsing Aaron Stokes and Eurofix. Franklin, 100 Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and now in Mount Juliet, 844-EUROFIX. That's 844-EUROFIX, or visit myEurofix.com.
Might want to do a thorough check. Ticks are sending more people to the emergency room this summer. I've got that story and more at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Yes, he does. Ken Weaver's all over the state of Tennessee, all over the United States of America, and the world with the news. He's also back for Nincompoops in the News.
Yes,
and that's coming up right after the bottom of the hour news. And Ken, I don't know if you know this or not, but I know you were away dealing with that AC issue yesterday. But
yes, sir.
Jay Harper in the newsroom, he did you proud, buddy.
That's what go, brother Jay Harper.
He kept it going in the newsroom. The newsroom streak is officially at 3 Nincompoops. How about that?
Yeah,
I got you today, though.
I don't know. I got a pretty good one myself.
Where's yours from, Murph?
I'm not telling you.
We're not doing this again today.
I'm not telling you. Ken gets to go first because he's representing the newsroom, and then we'll play some rock, paper, scissors. We'll play odds and evens. You ever played odds and evens there, Jackson?
Why don't we throw with our left hand?
Here, no, this is how you play odds and evens. This is how you play odds and evens. I heard that. You hear that, kid? That's just mean.
I did.
Throw with our left hand. That's just mean, man. All right, this is how we play odds and evens. Just all you have to say is odd or even. That's all you have to say, Jackson. Odd or even.
This seems like a game I'm destined to lose.
All you have to say, odd or even.
I feel like Ken has to be the odd or even.
No, all you have to say is odd or even.
Even.
See, you're right. So you get to go. You get to go second. See, I didn't cheat you. I wish you'd have said odd, and I'd have phoned that up for you. Huh?
Not on Super Talk TV.
Sorry. Y'all don't screen capture that. All right, so that's on the way after the real news on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 1221 said, I'd check Afton Bean for ticks. Come on now. Y'all be good. Y'all be good.
I'll take that. I'll take texts we shouldn't have read out loud for 200, Ken.
I know. I probably should. I probably should preview them. This one I already previewed. I'll speak to this right before Ken's newscast. 8507, the late, great Phil Valentine called it Van Gogh listening. And y'all that have been around, longer than Matt Murphy know what he meant by that. People that kind of listen, and don't hear all of the story or just hear what they want to hear. Well, there's Van Gogh listening, and then there's Helen Keller listening. And 8507, I'm going to go ahead and accuse you of Helen Keller listening because 8507 says, you support the Epstein excuse. It shows your true colors. You guys support Trump regardless. Have you even listened to the show, dude? Get your facts straight and get back to me if you have the ability. We're going to talk Superman coming up in a couple of minutes. We're going to talk James Comey and John Brennan coming up in a couple of minutes. We've got a Biden doctor update plus nincompoops in the news. Real news now on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's 5 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Well, you might want to consider using more bug repellent and maybe wearing long pants and shirts, too. The CDC says emergency room visits for tick bites this year are at the highest levels since 2019. They say it's especially prevalent in the Northeast, where June figures show 229 tick bites per every 100,000 people going to the emergency room. That's up from 167 per 100,000 ER visits in June of 2024. Ticks carry bacteria, viruses, and parasites. They can land you in the hospital. And a professor of microbiology at the University of Texas Medical Branch cites record high tick populations in several states this year and a longer tick season because of warming driven by climate change. And U.S. Senator Marsha Blackburn is pushing to reduce air traffic controller shortages. Blackburn is the sponsor of Control Tower Continuity Act she filed today. It allows for air traffic controllers to remain on the job after they reach 61 years old, which is the mandatory retirement age for air traffic controllers. And a water bottle recall, the lid pops off and has been linked to 2 people hit in the face and permanently blinded. Walmart says around 850,000 water bottles it sold have been recalled after reports of these 2 people. Ozark Trail 64-ounce stainless steel insulated water bottles are the ones being recalled. The Consumer Product Safety Council says the lid of this bottle can forcefully eject when someone tries to open it after they've put food, carbonated beverages, or perishable beverages like juice or milk in it for a long time. So far, Walmart says it's received only 3 complaints of people being hit in the face, but 2 of them permanently blind. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Yeah, I-440 eastbound from 65 over to 24 is like a parking lot right now. It's not much fun northbound 65 up to the South Loop either. And then when you get to the South Loop going eastbound over to 24, trying to get up there to 65 and 24, that's going to be slow going as well. I'm looking here in Montgomery County, Clarksville. Police reporting a crash 24 eastbound at MLK Parkway. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for Men of Valor. Men of Valor, what a wonderful organization. What a wonderful ministry that they provide in our prison systems in the state of Tennessee, and what a benefit to our community. Not only do they take takers within the community and turn them into givers, but they also turn souls around. You know what I'm saying? And that's a pretty big lift. Now I want to tell you about a wonderful event that's coming up October 1st, and it's way away. It seems like a long time away, but it'll be here before you know it, and you want to put it on your calendar. It is Liberty Hall at the Factory in Franklin. That's in Franklin, Tennessee. Everybody pretty much knows where the factory is. You're invited to the second annual Men of Valor Gala. Join us for an elegant evening of dinner, live music, participate in live and silent auctions, supporting Men of Valor's mission. Once again, a part of that mission will be presenting to you very special guest, Tim and Demi Lee Tebow, who just had a new baby. Tim and Demi Lee Demi Lee did. Tim's the daddy. He was there every step of the way, I'm certain. They just had a new baby, and they'll be in town October 1st for the second annual Men of Valor Gala. The reception was wonderful when Tim came to town the last time around. He's bringing the wife this time, and you are cordially invited. Go to movministry.com. That's movministry.com. For more information about the event. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor for the event, you can provide more information by emailing Alex at movministry.com. That's Alex at movministry.com. Save the date, October 1st. Hello, folks. Matt Murphy for Genesis Diamonds. By now, you know there are two locations to serve. Have you ever been to Cool Springs or Green Hills, the Genesis Diamonds in either of those locations? If not, if you've been, you know exactly what I'm talking about when I tell you the selection is almost overwhelming. The incredible difference in the Genesis Diamond selection and that of other jewelry stores is almost overwhelming. It's also a little overwhelming how they treat you. When you walk in, they're not trying to sell you something as quick as possible just to get you out of the store. They're going to offer you a beverage. They're going to talk with you. They're going to let you browse around on your own, or they'll walk you through the store asking you some questions about exactly what you're looking for. They'll give you an education on diamond buying. They'll even tell you the secrets of the industry. And then a wonderful thing will happen. They'll find the right thing for you. Or if you want to go out into the world and look around, they know you'll be back because Genesis Diamonds is the best at education. They're the best on price and selection, and they have hand-selected diamonds that are just right for you and your budget. It's all about Genesis Diamonds, right? Genesis Diamonds, Cool Springs and Green Hills. Go by today. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Genesis. Hey, Jackson, I just, a loyal listener took a screenshot. I just sent you something on your phone. I want you to respond to that in real time. Just sent you a little something. You know, that's fake news right there. You know, Photoshop is it's getting better and better every day. I'll just say that.
That's the exact screenshot I took during the break.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Fake news. All fake news. I asked Valerie, our loyal listener, originally from Oregon, to send me that screenshot that she sent originally on the super text line, because I'll probably go ahead and make that my profile pic at some point or another. Don't you think that'd be appropriate?
I love it. I might make it my, you can make like a header.
Oh, yeah. Someone asked, by the way, Jackson, 5811, who's obviously not only a loyal listener of Super Talk 99.7 WTN, but peruses the radio dial and dabbles into our sports brother station over at the Zone 104.5. And this person has asked, in advance of Nincompoops in the News, they want to know, Jackson, who gives you more grief, Buck or Murphy?
Ooh, it's definitely Buck.
All right, well, in that case, 5811 shall double my efforts.
You can try better. You gotta remember, I've been with you what? He said 9 days now.
Yeah, 9 days.
I was with Buck for 2 years.
Yeah.
So he's also got a lot more on me.
You're not even, and you've been removed from the Buck Rising show.
I moved to cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons.
And we hope to have you for a long, long time on the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. How about that?
We're having a good time.
Yes, sir. Maybe if Ken Weaver would let you win Nincompoops in the News once or twice, you might stick around.
I'm not going to do it.
Ken says, not gonna do it. It's time for Nincompoops in the News. You know what the news is by now. You've opined on said same. It's time to find those Nincompoops. Weaver looks, Murphy looks, Jackson looks. We present and you vote. And it's time to get with it. Mr. Weaver, you got yourself a nincompoop over there?
I do. I have 2 in case one of you boys used this yesterday.
All right. We're ready to go.
All right. So I'm going to go with my first one.
Okay.
Florida man hijacks Key West sightseeing train for meth-fueled joyride on his birthday, and he picks up passengers while he's at it.
All right. Let's go to number 2.
That was a much better
biscuit eater.
Much better delivery than you did.
Right. I mean, you would still win, Ken, because you're going to deliver the story so much better. But, yeah, that story, I actually had that story, and believe it or not, Jackson had the same story yesterday. And
all 3 of us.
I mean, so all 3 of us, you, me, and Jackson, picked that Key West story because it's just that good. How do you pronounce that word, by the way?
Which word?
C-O-N-C-H.
Oh, that's conch.
See, I went conch too, and everybody says that the Key West people say conch. But, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it is
Maybe
conch.
it is. I mean, I got dressed down for it. But, all right, let's go to number 2, Brother Ken.
All right, this one's right here in Music City, boys. A Nashville man calls 911 for cigarettes 10 times in 1 week.
Was he trying to quit?
The Nashville Department of Emergency Communications urging the community to call 911 if you're dealing with an emergency. But Channel 4 reports the DEC says a man called 911 10 times throughout the week, not for an emergency, but for his need for cigarettes. One spokesperson says, see smoke? Yes, call 911. Need smokes? No. Call literally anyone else. DEC explained to the man that 911 doesn't do smoke runs. He disagreed loudly, and then he called again and again. He persisted because clearly we were just being difficult. Later, officers with the Metro Nashville Police Department delivered the man a pair of handcuffs to wear, not cigarettes.
Isn't that nice?
Went to jail. for demanding cigarettes.
I don't think you can smoke in jail anymore either. So
I don't think you can either.
So he was like, "Sir, this line is for just I assure you that it's an emergency.
It is a nicotine emergency."
Sir, you're allowed one phone call. I'd just rather have a smoke.
Yeah, can I just get a pack of smokes? Thanks a lot. I don't know.
Anyway, they don't name the fella.
Did you tell me that you smoked at one time?
I did for about 20 years, off and on.
Yeah, I smoked for 15 to 30. I smoked for 17 years, and when I quit, I was smoking about a pack and a half a day. And let me tell you something: when you run out, that it becomes an emergency.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, I get it.
It does. In fact, I quit one time, and my wife a week later said, "Start it up again."
That's funny. You know, my best piece of advice, Ken, for people trying to quit, and I could do a show on this because my grandpa taught me these two things. One, and it seemed so stupid when he said it to me because I was smoking and I was wanting to quit. But it seemed so dumb to me at the time, but it made crystal clear sense when I finally quit. He said, the only thing you need to quit is to really want to.
Yeah.
And I didn't get it. And I was like, that's stupid. That's dumb. But when I really wanted to quit, when I really wanted it, and I had that clarity, I quit.
Yep.
And the other thing that he taught me, and I did this too, Ken, he said, the one piece of advice I'll give you, boy, he called me boy, is the one piece of advice I'll give you, boy. He said, always keep a pack on you. And I'm like, sir? And he's like, keep them around you. He said, the mistake that people make is that they get them away from them, and it drives you crazy that there aren't any. He said, I kept a pack of cigarettes on me for 2 years after I quit smoking because I decided that if cigarettes were going to beat me, they're right there. All I have to do is pick them up. If I'm going to admit that I'm not as strong as a cigarette, here they are. And he said, it's not the cigarette that's making you smoke. You're making you smoke.
Yes, that is it exactly.
And it's true. Anyway, no, that's a good one. Good one. Cigarette guy calls 911. Mr. Jackson, you won odds or even, so you get to go next.
I'm going out to Bluefield, West Virginia. 2 people face multiple charges after they were caught allegedly having...
You and I are sourcing from the same place. This is a problem. Dad, damn it, I should never let him go. Yeah, we're even.
Having sexual relations while driving a stolen RV. Patrolman Ham attempted to pull over a car. He saw a white RV being driven eastbound on Bluefield Avenue. According to the complaint, the officer saw a naked woman straddling a man who was driving the RV. Once the RV came to a stop a half mile after the officer turned his lights on, the officer was notified by a passerby that the man and woman had changed seats while pulling over. The woman, identified as Shannon Bryant, was sitting in the driver's seat when the officer reached the driver's side window. The man, identified as Matthew McDonald, was in the passenger seat. When asked what they were doing...
You better not quote her. You better figure it out.
When asked what they were doing, Bryant reportedly admitted to the officer that they were... having relations.
She said, she said, yeah, we're bleep. Anyway.
Both people were taken out of the vehicle to allow for further investigation. While exiting the RV, Bryant appeared intoxicated to the officer, according to the complaint. During the interview, McDonald reportedly admitted to the officer that both him and Shannon Bryant were naked and attempted to have sexual relations while driving. According to the criminal complaint, McDonald also admitted to the switching of seats and making Shannon Bryant drive, even though he knew she was intoxicated.
I might have missed it because I was so mad you got my story. Did you get to the part where they discovered the thing was stolen?
Yeah, they ran the plates and they figured out it was stolen. And then they found a bunch of drug paraphernalia, like a white powdery substance and a leafy substance consistent with marijuana.
You see, Clark, that there is an RV. Yeah, you steal the RV and...
you steal Matt Murphy's story.
You know, when the trailer's rocking, don't come a-knocking. Oh, no, that's okay. I mean, we'll talk. We'll talk later there, Jackson, because I guarantee you we're sourcing from the same place because I saw that story today. I couldn't help it.
What website?
Smoking Gun.
Oh, I have FARK.
Oh, yeah, Fark's good too, but Smoking Gun's where I go. All right, but I've got this one. That's okay. I can call it an audible with the best of them. Florida man,
yes,
who cops believe was stabbed in a drug dispute, was in surgery when a nurse discovered a glass crack pipe, lighter, and tinfoil containing cocaine. I'll give you boys 3 guesses, and the first 2 don't count where she found this stuff.
Keister?
Up the old poop chute.
The keister.
The keister. The keister. That's good, Jason. Yeah, that's right. The surprising, rectum. The surprising find occurred earlier this month at the St. Petersburg Bayfront Hospital, where Michael O'Donnell was transported for a knife wound. The 43-year-old was in surgery, and an RN located the stashed items, according to the affidavit. After being hospitalized for his injuries, O'Neill, pictured at right, and I've got a mugshot of the guy, and he looks exactly like you might imagine him, with little crossed eyes, which if I had all of that up my rectum, I'd have crossed eyes too, was booked into jail for cocaine possession, a felony, possession of drug paraphernalia, a misdemeanor. O'Neill was released from custody after posting a $5,500 bond, pleaded not guilty to the charges. O'Neill has been convicted of numerous drug-related counts, including possession of cocaine, DUI, methamphetamines, fentanyl, and narcotics paraphernalia, pleaded guilty last year to drug possession. But, yes, they were engaged in a surgery to help him with a stab wound when they discovered a glass crack pipe, a lighter, and tinfoil where the sun don't shine.
The tinfoil, that's got a scratch.
I mean, you'd think.
The lighter might, too.
I don't know how I got million. Yeah, I hope it wasn't a Zippo.
What if you sit wrong and the lighter ignites and ignites the tinfoil? You're going through a whole big problem down there.
I mean, you're going to, you found a new way to get high, I suppose.
That's a big issue. No, it's not lighting the crack. It's igniting the aluminum foil.
Wait, which crack?
It's igniting his crack.
Oh, yeah. Lots of cracks going on. That's how you play nincompoops in the news. You get to vote. 615-737-9986. Vote for Weaver, vote for Jackson, or vote the right way for Murphy on Super Talk text line 615-737-9986. Back to more serious stuff when we return, to include James Comey and John Brennan. 2 more deserving individuals have been investigated. I mean, they're deserving of a little jail time in my estimation. We'll give you the details coming up next. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy, and I always love spending a moment or two with Tony Spain of Cabinet Solutions up in Hendersonville. Tony, what is happening, my brother?
Well, I didn't leave you hanging today.
No, I love talking with you. Well, look, I love talking about you, but I love more talking with you because I like the folks. I like giving them the ability to hear from you directly about all the great things that are going on with my Cabinet Solutions. So let's talk, man. What's happening up there?
Well, listen, I just wanted to remind folks that are looking for cabinets in their house, it's not a good idea to go to the big box stores. I just drove by one a while ago and just thought about it. And you know what? You just don't want to trust something as nice as cabinetry with a person who was probably working in plumbing 2 weeks ago. So we're experienced and we're ready to help, and we have got some of the nicest cabinetry that you can find, all the way up into custom, or we've got some budget things for you, everything in between.
I mean, really, if you have a dream of new cabinets in the kitchen, dream of a redone bathroom, dream of an incredible closet or dressing area, I mean, Tony's your guy, and he can make those dreams a reality within your individual budget. And it really starts with a visit to the website, right, Tony, so that they can explore more and then contact you.
That's right. They can go to mycabinetsolution.com, mycabinetsolution.com, and go to the contact tab and fill out that quick and simple contact form that comes directly to me, and then I will give them a call back, and we will take care of their project.
There you go, friends. Go to Tony's website, mycabinetsolution.com, for more information and get in contact with Tony Spain and Cabinet Solutions.
A major employer in Middle Tennessee has shut down early. This story and more coming up at 6 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Looking forward to that. Right now, Murphy's in the lead. I guess I'll leave voting open until 6. I am. I'm. Look, you can tally this up on your own there. Don't shake your head at me, Jackson. I got 10 votes. Jackson has 7 votes, and Ken Weaver has 3 votes. So there you go. I mean, I'm letting you know. I mean, and you know, and I feel bad for Ken because he had his A story, the Key West story, and he had to divert to the B story. But that happens sometimes. Also, 0142 said it's still pronounced conch, not conch. Thank you. We had to go to the Oxford Dictionary, and they pronounced it conch. And then I was still told, Ken, that we were wrong because they were like, well, that's how the English do it. We're America. We speak American. We speak American. Okay, whatever. But then 0142 says something, and I want to just, look, I'm not here to tell you how you do your thing. But 0142, you said, also, I'm trying to quit smoking. I could use prayers and encouragement. Love you all at WTN.
You got it, buddy. Or lady.
Yes, ma'am or sir, you absolutely have our encouragement. But here's what I would say to you. This is one other thing my grandfather told me, and it stuck with me. He said, a mistake that people make, they talk about they're trying to quit. They're trying to quit. I'm trying to quit, trying to quit, trying to quit. He said, you either smoke or you don't.
Yes, sir.
And if you say the words, I'm trying to quit, what you are telling yourself is that you still smoke. How about I don't smoke? And 0142, I'm telling you, and I was there, I smoked a pack and a half a day. Ken Weaver's been there.
Yeah.
If you have those cravings and man, it's coming on you hard and you just want a cigarette more, you just feel like you can eat it. You look yourself in the mirror and you say, I don't smoke.
That's right.
I don't smoke. Why would I pick up a cigarette and light it? I don't smoke. It's not I'm trying to quit. I don't smoke.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was this way with you too, Murphy, but for me, I had to quit cold turkey.
Yeah, I did too.
I just had to quit.
Yeah, I did too.
No patches, no gum, anything like that. You just got to quit.
Yeah, I did. And
it's hard.
And what I did, and I don't know what this did for me, but I think I created a tangible thing out of something intangible, Ken. I counted every day. I got up in the morning because it created an investment. Because, it's day 1, it's day 2, it's day 3. And then eventually it was day 45. And I said, if I have a cigarette, one little puff, I go from 45 to 0.
Right.
And I was like, I can't do that. I would have wasted 45 days if I do that.
That's right.
Ken, the last day that I actively counted was day 422. And I don't know why, but I was like, you know what? I don't have to count anymore. So she's a lady, ma'am. Good luck. Oh, it's our favorite grammar Nazi. Oh, yeah, I love you. English teacher, thank you, ma'am, and good luck. You don't smoke. Ma'am, you don't smoke. You're not trying to quit. You don't smoke. You know who does the news, though? That's Ken Weaver. He's not in the newsroom. He's down in Murfreesboro at home base, but he's got the headlines right now on Super Talk.
Six o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And right now in Middle Tennessee, the Bridgestone tire plant in Laverne is already shut down. Channel 4 says the company announced they ceased operations on July 2nd, notifying employees in a letter that the plant was shutting down, but originally slated to close its doors on July 31st. Employees were told there was no need for them to report back to the plant after the July 4th holiday. Bridgestone says employees will continue to get pay and benefits through the 31st. Right now in Maryland, police and fire teams in Baltimore are on the scene of what they're calling a mass casualty overdose incident. The fire chief there says it started just before 9:30 this morning when 911 dispatched a call for a possible overdose. He says the first medics to arrive on scene found 3 people unconscious for suspected overdose. The scene got worse over time. The incident still was unfolding, just one person after another A total of 15 people transported to the hospital, 5 of them said to be in critical condition. And at this time, authorities say they don't know exactly what substance it is that was causing the overdose there in Baltimore. Water bottles sold at Walmart are blamed for permanent blindness. So 850,000 Ozark Trail 64-ounce stainless steel bottles have been recalled. Take them back for a refund. The Consumer Product Safety Council says the lid of this bottle can forcefully eject when someone tries to open it after it has food, carbonated beverages, or perishable beverages like juice or milk in it for a long time. So far, Walmart says it's received 3 complaints of people being hit in the face by the lid when opening the bottle. 2 of those people suffering permanent vision loss afterwards. And Ford Motor Company recalling up to about 850,000 Mustangs, SUVs, and trucks because a low-pressure fuel pump failure can lead to an engine stall, which can increase the risk of a crash. The vehicles affected include the 2021 to 2023 model Expeditions, Explorers, Broncos, Mustangs, Lincoln Navigators, and F-150 and 250 trucks. Ford says the vehicles may show warning signs such as an engine misfiring or running rough, the check engine light coming on, or reduced engine power. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Wow, things are looking a lot better getting out of the downtown area. In fact, I'm seeing smooth sailing if you are on the South Loop going westbound. There's a little brake tapping going on eastbound South Loop over to 2440 and the Eastern Split. Now, 24 eastbound is still bumper to bumper once you get there to the 440 interchange. 440 eastbound, it starts to speed up a little bit after Nolensville Pike, but then you slow down again once you get to 24. I'm only seeing one crash on the interstates right now. This one's going to be in Clarksville. It's 24 eastbound at MLK Parkway, exit 11. Traffic every 10 minutes, every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy and the Matt Murphy Show. Thank you so much for being around. 7 minutes after the hour. One more hour to go, and we'll call it a Thursday and head off to Friday. Big Friday show. Friday in progress on the Friday show. First time in a while for me. I can't wait.
Final tally for Nick and Poops.
I was just doing that. I'm glad you mentioned that. Sherry, never you fear, I will never release that. Sherry, I love our super texters. I love phone calls. I love talking to folks on the phone. I love the super texters almost as much. The chat over there on the YouTube channel is absolutely insane. There's a lot of insane people that go on. I mean, and I love that too. But special place in my heart for callers. But Sherry writes in and says, "Hey, I didn't mean to see you." She sent us her entire contact list accidentally, I think.
Was there a Jackson in there?
There was a Jason.
I'll take that. That's a vote for me.
Yeah, I don't think so. Something about cigarettes. Oh, she sent us what is this? Cigarettes, 29,730. I don't know what any of this means. She said, "I didn't mean to send you guys a contact list. I was just sending you the screenshot of my app since I quit. It's awesome because you input how much you smoke a day and how much that day cost you to smoke." Real quick, I want to go over this real quick, and then I'll get to the tally. I don't want to belabor it, but if you smoke and you no longer wish to smoke, I fully agree and wholeheartedly support Ken Weaver's statement that you just have to quit. Because all you need to quit is to want to.
Yep.
If you truly want to quit smoking, you have the ability. You have everything inside of you. You don't need any outside agency. You don't need Nicorette. You don't need but Ken, I'm not proud of this to say this, and do not do this. I will preface it by saying, do not do this. It is dangerous. I was on the patch. I smoked on top of the patch.
A lot of people have.
And it is dangerous because it gets your heart rate going and it releases the nicotine. It's bad. You shouldn't do it. But so I patched it, but I didn't really want to quit. But when I wanted to quit, I won't say that it was easy, because it was not easy, because it is psychologically and physically addictive. But it was pretty simple. It was straightforward. I don't smoke. I don't. Yeah. And so
go ahead.
No, you.
Well, I mean, for one thing, my daughter, whenever she turned 5, she asked me to quit.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, that was just, I didn't know whether to get mad or sad.
Yeah.
I would say, leave me alone. But anyway, that was one thing. And then I don't know, man, I look at this as kind of, I was fortunate in that what helped me is I caught a nasty lung infection. And I was like out sick for an entire week. So I went without smoking a cigarette for 7 days. And I don't know, whenever I started feeling better, I thought, you know what? I've already got, it's kind of like what you were talking about. I've gone 7 days. Mm-hmm. Let's go 8.
Yeah.
Let's go 9.
Right.
And you just keep on. You almost turn it into an OCD thing.
Yeah, a game, if you will, or and mine was just I thought about it as marbles in a bowl. That I have 40 marbles. Now I have 41 marbles.
Right.
And if I take one puff of one cigarette, I'm gonna have to turn that bowl upside down and empty all of those marbles out of that bowl and start over. And I'm like, but that's just wasted time.
Yes.
And look, I encourage anybody, just get into the mindset that you don't smoke anymore. Is it hard? Yeah, it sure is.
Boy, it is. It is.
But we got you back on the afternoon portion of the broadcast day on Super Talk. I don't think any of us smoke. Huh.
No,
anybody on the station smoke.
I will tug on a cigar.
Well, yeah. I said that I would quit for 5 years because I feared starting back. If I puffed on a cigar, I said, but after 5 years, I'm going to become a cigar smoker. That's what I told myself.
Which can get you too.
Yeah, I mean, but I tried it for a while, Ken, and then I remember there was a point. I still will occasionally smoke a cigar if I'm in the mood, But in terms of regularly, I'm like, I don't really like them that much.
Well, yeah, man. I mean, it makes your mouth taste like, that old boy shoved a pipe in there in your nincompoop store.
I've gotten to smoke 2 cigars.
Yeah, you're first
in the past couple of years.
First
with Tennessee beating Alabama.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Well, that's right. You boys like to puff up, don't you?
Absolutely. It is one of the most euphoric feelings as a football fan I've ever felt.
Well, because you had never felt it in your adult life prior to a couple of years ago.
Well, to be fair, my adult life, I'm 25, so my adult life.
I'm just saying. I mean, I think Alabama got to what, 15?
16.
Yeah, but y'all got 2 out of 3.
Woo!
How about that? All right, so there's our friendly piece of advice of the day from Ken Weaver, Matt Murphy. Puffing on cigars, that's all well and good, but get rid of them nasty. Frank says, y'all, Frank on the Super Text line, you and Ken making me want a cigarette. My grandpa, I never knew him when he smoked. He stopped when I was a year old, and he occasionally, I would come home from college and I smoked Marlboro Lights when they called them that. And I would just throw him a pack of cigarettes on the counter and I would come in to the kitchen and I would occasionally catch him. He would have a cigarette out and he was holding it under his nose, sniffing it. And I was like, what are you doing? He was funny. I said, well, what are you doing, Pa? Smoking. and I was like, you still want one? He's every day of my life.
Yeah.
Every day of my life. And I'm like, well, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Yeah, but it'll kill you. That's the problem.
It sure will. And then when you lay in bed and you listen to yourself wheezing.
That's right.
That's not good.
I mean, I was a 32-year-old overweight man. I'd get into the shower every morning and cough up black crap.
Yeah,
and I'm like, that's no good. That's
a sign.
No way to live your life. All right, 615-737-9986. If you want to get in here, Tim wants to talk about Mr. Epstein. Hello, Tim.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good.
I just didn't know if anybody's brought this up about what's going on with Cash Patel, Pam Bondi, and all. And I'm wondering if they're just possibly they're pulling a sting because they could basically, unless you get them in a congressional meeting where you can ask them under oath, they could just say what they're at. I think right now they could be doing a sting because they don't want to say, hey, we got a list here because all the people that are guilty are going to be running to flee the country. They want to catch them. So I think they might be possibly doing a sting. That's my opinion.
Well, how does that work? I mean, I just don't.
It's like an undercover operation. If somebody directly said to you, do you have the list of all these people that are guilty and you want to catch them? You'd say, no, I don't have anything. So you want these guys to stay where they're at, be happy, they go back into whatever their nonsense they've been doing so you can nail them on a big raid. I think that's what they could be doing. Unless you get them under a congressional or Senate hearing and ask these questions to them, they can just say whatever they want unless you have them under oath. Then they can say, oh, we do have a list.
Well, but this isn't, I mean, to me, it's not a matter of a congressional hearing. It's a matter of being arrested.
What was that?
I said, you say you get them under oath in a Senate hearing or it's not a matter of a Senate hearing, right? It's a matter of the law enforcement going to their home and arresting them.
Right.
That's a criminal proceeding, not a political.
But if they're going to do a sting, they're going to have to keep it quiet until they can nail them. Also, I mean, there's got to be a list because why was that Dick Durbin guy stonewalling forever?
Well, Tim, I feel you, and I'm not discounting that maybe that is somewhere in the realm of possibility. I feel like, and I'm not talking down to you, but I mean, I feel like it's more wishful thinking on your part than anything.
Right. I can understand.
But maybe so. Maybe they're playing a long game that we can't quite see. And one of these days we're going to see the arrest of 10 or 15 or 20 or 120 or whatever. I hope so. Right. I hope you're right. I really do.
I think the first he's got to have that midterm election where they can switch some of these judges. Everything he does right now to fight the judges pop up and fight him, and then you get prosecutors like in the P. Diddy case, Maureen Comey, James Comey's daughter. She was also involved in the Epstein case, and she's not going to be looking for anything. And I'm going to be honest, P. Diddy's going to walk too, and that's. Like I said, I'm just saying.
Well, thank you, Tim. P. Diddy will get. Diddy was overcharged, in my opinion. I'm a Diddy-free show. I don't talk about that case because I don't give a damn about it, and I don't want to invest my time. But whatever time investment that I've made of that case, I would say this: that it seemed to me that there was an overcharge in terms of the racketeering, and the jury saw that. There maybe was a disbelief in some of the witnesses that came forward that they were being hijacked against their will. So the trafficking issues kind of went that way too. And they all but admitted that they were carrying prostitutes across state lines. So, you know what? Remains to be seen how much jail time he serves. It wouldn't surprise me if he got some amount of jail, 6 months or a year, probably not nearly what he deserves. But that's just my basic takeaway, that there was an overcharge in the P. Diddy case, and that's what led to an acquittal on several of the more serious counts. Now, I admit I don't know a lot about the case because I haven't been following it, because all of it's disgusting to me. And I pick and choose some of the things I don't follow, and I don't follow that, or I haven't. On the Epstein front, Tim, I understand why you feel the way you feel. I want to believe that there's some hidden reason why we're not getting transparency out of the administration when it comes to that. But I don't believe for a second that they're holding out to charge people, or they're claiming. I don't think it's some sort of double head fake going on. I think they just want the issue to go away. I think if that is a matter of protecting intelligence agencies like the CIA, intelligence agencies like the Mossad, both, or if that's a matter of protecting individuals, I don't know. But it feels to me like they would just as soon nobody talk about Jeffrey Epstein and the Epstein files any longer. It's 19 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy here for USS. You know what USS stands for? United Structural Systems. United Structural Systems is simply the best when it comes to handling your foundation or waterproofing issues in your home. You know, those aren't going to go away. And if you've walked around your home, you know your home better than anybody, right? And if you've noticed foundation issues, if you've found that you've got doors sticking, windows sticking, cracks that you've noticed that have appeared in masonry joints, perhaps it's a moldy or musty smell that you hear smell in the basement or the crawl space, or maybe even walls bowing, or floors bowing to a certain degree because of moisture within your home. All of these are signs of foundation and waterproofing issues. Those things go hand in hand. Homeowners trust USS. Since 1994, they've been doing the job the right way, keeping homes stable and keeping homes dry. Serving Middle Tennessee with almost 30,000 satisfied customers. Give them a call today at 615-488-7855. 488-7855. USS, they guarantee their best. Online at USSTN.com. Hey, folks, it's Matt Murphy for my friends at Volunteer Outfitters. Over the course of the summer, have you noticed that you need some, I don't know, lake gear, maybe boat stuff? If you are enjoying the salt life down south in the Gulf, or perhaps the lake living at one of the beautiful waterways that we've got in Middle Tennessee, you need to get to Volunteer Outfitters because they've got something for everyone. Drake, Huck, Bandit, and everything in between. They've got Big Duck Energy. I've got the hat that proves it. I'll wear it one of these days. It says Big Duck Energy right there. It's a hat that I got from Volunteer Outfitters. Well, they got the Big Duck Energy at Volunteer Outfitters. Footwear, they've got shorts, they've got pants, they've got gear for the hunter. If you're trying to gear up for the season that's coming this fall, it's time to do it at Volunteer Outfitters. Plus, speaking of the fall football season, they got collegiate gear galore as well. Volunteer Outfitters is on New Shackle Island Road in Hendersonville. Go see Tommy and his crew. Love the way that they do business, and I love supporting local business with the high-end quality that they've got at Volunteer Outfitters.
Protesters clash with ICE agents during raids in California, and a Nashville mother accused of shooting her own daughter. These stories and more coming up at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I mean, everybody's asking. I'm not trying to gloat or anything, but I did. I won. For those of you asking on the Super Text line, I've tallied all the votes and I have won. I don't win very often, but I have won today. Oftentimes it is Ken Weaver. Sometimes Jackson gets the sympathy vote. But today, for whatever reason, I mean, maybe it was crack pipe up the butt. I don't know. I won. So
crack pipe up the butt was pretty good. I forgot that was yours.
Yeah. And by the way, it wasn't my first one. My first one was RV, and
Wrinkle.
Yeah.
It was crack up the crack.
Crack up the crack.
Both involved crack.
That's true. That's true.
Here's the disturbing thing about that too, as if it's not disturbing enough. What was he going to do with that pipe had he gotten away with it?
Well,
he was just going to use it again.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do what you got to do, and when you're in a pinch, you got to find a hidey hole somewhere, Ken.
I'll just blow on it. That'll clean it.
Yeah. I'll just wash it off. So the biggest question that came out of that story from the super texters, what was she doing looking up there? I mean, ma'am, you are here to deal with a knife wound. You are not here to deal with my bunghole.
Maybe
Might
they
have
took
a case. We need to ask Jay about that tomorrow.
Maybe. I mean, I don't want to be too graphic, but maybe she saw a glimmer of shiny tinfoil, maybe.
What is that?
Yeah, oh my goodness. Need to help this fella out.
I don't think that's what his parents meant by rub some dirt on it.
I have heard stories about jailhouse confessions of things smuggled. And actually, there's a book, and I forget, this was actually from the emergency room. There was a book that was collected over the years. A guy went around emergency rooms and collected the most interesting, shall we say, X-rays of objects discovered in places, and
Well, remember my story about Buzz Lightyear, but we changed it to Butt Lightyear.
Wait, what? I wasn't here for that, Ken.
Yeah, some fella wound up in an ER with Buzz Lightyear right up there.
I don't think that's what he meant by it. To infinity and beyond.
Oh my God! I have reached beyond.
Well, remember we were talking with Brink Fiddler. Remember, and he was telling us about, he said, "Oh yeah, there's stories out there."
Oh, 100%.
I bet you Brink's got some stories.
Oh, 100%.
Because he was a drug cop, right?
He was a drug interdiction task force guy. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, but the ones that amaze me, there are stories that are true of people who have hidden small guns,
Goodness.
pistols. Those pistols have an L to them, y'all. They have an L shape, and I don't understand. Well,
I hope the safety was on.
I don't even want to. I don't even want to contemplate it. I mean, is there a part that? I mean, it's like the handle kind of. I guess. You
They
kind
would
of
do what some people in the 50s called the twist.
leave the handle at the ready, and wah. And so,
Why is it wet?
Quick draw. Good gracious. 1733 says it's the old prison purse. Yeah,
exactly.
That's right.
The prison purse.
Yeah, that's what Brink called it.
That's right. That's exactly what he called it, the prison purse. All right, let's transition away from the prison purse to roadway etiquette. After hours on the road, according to the Tennessean article that I read earlier today, I wasn't aware of this. And it was interesting enough to me that I thought I would share it with you. A few things are more aggravating than a driver lingering in the left lane, and I would agree with that. I was not a fan of specifically identifying cell phone use as a targetable offense for police officers for a long time because I'm a libertarian, and I don't believe that we need to pass additional laws where there is no need. And distracted driving is already an offense. So why not just, charge these people with distracted driving? But officers around the country and around the various states said, no, we need to put some more meat on the bone when it comes to texting and driving. And over the years, I've been convinced that it's necessary. But let me tell you that if you find someone in the middle of the day that you're driving behind and they are weaving on the roadways to the point that you believe that they're drunk, you get beside them and 8 or 9 times out of 10, they're on their phone. There is nothing else that people do in their cars, eating, putting on makeup, nothing else that they do that more resembles drunk driving than texting and driving. Speeding up and slowing down and doing it. It is absurd, and you are a danger on the roadways. Well, in Tennessee, there is a remedy for those left lane drivers, right? So I'm annoyed by texting and driving, but I don't think anything bugs me more than someone going under the flow of traffic in the left-hand lane. And you see it more and more and more and more. These entitled people that think that, it's perfectly acceptable even if I'm going 70 miles an hour or I'm going 65 miles an hour in a 70 mile an hour zone. It's perfectly acceptable for me to just cruise in the left-hand lane, and screw you, you can pass on the right. That's not the way that it works, or at least it shouldn't work that way. Sometimes, on occasion, if I'm annoyed just enough, you know what I do? I will
give somebody the finger.
No, I don't give them the finger because sometimes you get the. You know what I'll do though? If they're going like 60 and it's 70 and they're in the left lane, I'll pass them on the right, which I shouldn't have to do. I'll get back in front of them and then I'll go 50. So I will slow down in front of them in the left-hand lane slower than they're driving. And then when they have to pass you on the right, they get all mad at you. They get all pissy. I'm like, what? I'm just doing what you were doing to me. Anyway, did y'all know there's a slowpoke law in Tennessee?
Yeah.
I did not know this, but I will, Jackson knew. We'll share it with everybody in just a moment, right after the news on Super Talk.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. A large-scale raid on 2 farms in California today by ICE agents, and it quickly grew chaotic when protesters went after the agents conducting immigration raids at a cannabis farm in Ventura County. Crowds quickly gathering, federal agents setting off smoke canisters and irritants to disperse them. Dozens of men lined against the wall, heavily armed agents standing guard, at least one person seen kneeling on the ground, seemingly under arrest. The other farm was in Santa Barbara and is owned by the same farming company. Right now in Nashville, a 39-year-old mother is charged with child abuse and gun possession while intoxicated after allegedly shooting her teenage daughter inside their Susanna Drive apartment this morning. Chantrell Allen jailed in lieu of a $105,000 bond. Police say Allen and her 16-year-old daughter had been arguing all night and into the early morning when the teen closed the door of her bedroom and held it shut. Mom then allegedly pulled a gun and fired a shot through the door, and a bullet went into her daughter's left hand. She's going to be okay. Mom's in jail. Money news, mortgage rates have ended a 5-week decline in borrowing costs for home buyers. The long-term rate ticked up to 6.72% from 6.67% last week. On the 15-year fixed-rate mortgages, they went up 5.8 to 5.86% from 5.8% last week. Meanwhile, Realtor.com says more homeowners are pulling their listings from the market because they're not seeing the interest they thought that might be the case. Delistings surged 47% in May compared to a year earlier. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, still seeing that crash 24 eastbound at MLK Parkway in Clarksville. Now in Glencliff, police reporting a crash 24 westbound just past Briley Parkway. Over on the West Loop, police reporting a crash 40 eastbound at 65. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
So imagine, if you will, that you're working from home and your power goes out. And a lot of people work from home nowadays. What would you do? Well, it's happening more and more lately that the power goes out because of thunderstorms. And y'all know this time of year, a thunderstorm can pop up at any moment. It can knock the power out. And if you lose power, what do? Well, I would encourage you to get with Premier Generac generators. Premier Generators is a wonderful company. They are the #1 dealer of Generac generators in the state of Tennessee, and they want to talk with you about your own unique needs. They know their craft inside and out. It's all they do. The experts at Premier Generators do, well, home generators, and that's it. It's what they do. So you know you're getting the best of the best when it comes to expertise. They know exactly what size to recommend to you depending on the size of your home, the size of your family, and your family's needs. There's always a 10-year warranty waiting on you at Premier Generac Generators. Free consultation. What are you waiting for? They're not going to try to upsell you. They want to inform you, educate you on the benefits of having an entire home generator installed in your home, and it improves the value of your house, folks. I mean, if you're planning on moving down the road at any point, this is going to improve the sellable value of your home. PremierGenerators.com is the website, PremierGenerators.com, or call them at 855-797-4766. 855-797-4766. Tell them Murphy sent you to Premier Generac Generators. I don't want to revisit it too much, and I think Jackson has something of an update for us. I don't know what this update is, but he has an update for us, and we'll get to that in just a moment. I don't want to completely relitigate this, but I do want to answer it because Justin writes in, and he says, Matt, why are so many conservatives? I'm not a conservative, by the way, but be that as it, I'm just not. I don't say that because I have much of a difference with so many conservatives that listen to this radio show. It's just I try to be accurate and factual. I'm much more of a libertarian, small L libertarian, than I am a conservative. Matt, why are so many conservatives ignoring the fact that the Biden administration had access to the Epstein files for years? The same corrupt administration that doctored FISA applications, destroyed J6 evidence, etc. Biden tampered with the files. Bondi has nothing actionable to share. I don't think we're ignoring this possibility, Justin, except to say that that's not what they're saying to us. If the files were there, I mean, Bondi said she had them. Bondi said they're on my desk. The Southern District of New York turned them over. So why don't they tell us that if that's the case? Well, if your answer is, well, they don't know, well, then why did they say they had it and they don't have it? Right? There would be evidence of destruction of evidence. There would be a chain of events. You could put people under the white-hot spotlight of interrogation and figure these things out. There would be witnesses to the event. There would be actionable things that they did that you could see in real. I mean, there would be a trail of, even if it's just a trail of the erasure, there would be trails of the erasure. So if that is what happened, and a lot of people are grasping at straws because they don't want this cloud hanging over the Trump administration. And I'm not saying that in a way that should be considered to be condescending. I'm not trying to be condescending to people. But I am trying to be reasonable. That if we see that evidence was destroyed or tampered with, then you just say that. And you say we're going after the people that did that. Ray writes in and says, but Matt, she wouldn't know what she should have or shouldn't have. She doesn't know how many files should have actually been in it. Oh, so we're left with it's not that the Trump people just don't want to talk about it, that the Biden folks committed the perfect crime? Really? I do not believe that our very best within the National Security Agency apparatus, within the FBI, within the CIA, could not find evidence, at least evidence of the erasure, if they wanted to. They could. There's going to be a footprint. There's going to be I mean, I don't, and I know that we don't like to hear this. Once again, this is not a deal breaker. Guys, we can be frustrated and upset about certain aspects of this and still believe in and move forward with the Trump administration and the Trump agenda. That doesn't mean that we can't be disappointed. We can be disappointed. It does not have to be an all or nothing. One of the least likable aspects of politics in 2025, and I've been doing this for a quarter of a century now, is this misguided and, in my opinion, somewhat childish belief that if I agree with you 9 times and disagree with you once, you have to be my enemy. And that if we disagree with the Trump administration on something very important to people, that somehow means the Trump administration is the enemy. 5510 says, we nothing, you're the one acting like a spoiled child. Well, tell me how that is. My number is open. I'm not above reproach. I'm happy to listen to how I'm acting like a spoiled child by calling the baby ugly and by telling the truth about this. 5510, you just don't want to deal with it. You write me, quit gaslighting, quit reaching out to the morons ready to jump ship. 6 wonderful months and so many wins. Nobody's discounting the wins, bud. You're talking about child rape. I'm not acting like a spoiled child. But you're entitled to your opinion, too. You insist that Trump's right about everything, every single thing. Well, he's right about most things. And I'm the one on record, 5510, as saying that the first 6 months of the second term of Donald Trump's presidency have been the greatest 6 months in the history of the presidency, Epstein included. And I'm telling people to jump ship? Come on, bud. If we can agree, I mean, Ronald Reagan said that if I agree with you 85% of the time and we disagree 15% of the time, that doesn't mean you're my enemy. And I know that it has hit a chord because so many of you that are Trump supporters don't want to talk about it. Well, it bothers me if people in high levels of the American government have dismissed child rapists because they're too big to prosecute. And I feel like what's his gosh darn it, what's the actor's name? Godfather.
Al Pacino?
Al Pacino. I feel like Al Pacino in Godfather Part 3. Every time I try to get out, they drag me back in. Mike is next up. Hey, Mike, what's going on, buddy?
Nothing. I heard y'all a little while ago. I was in the shower, and y'all are going on about quitting smoking. If you want to simplify that, ease it up a little bit, you quit with the signs. Get an almanac. And you quit, and then it's been a minute because I've been quit for 20-some-odd years, but I believe it was in the feet. You'll have to get an almanac to understand what I'm talking about because I can see your face right now. You're switching it up.
I'm trying to understand what you're saying, that you get an almanac.
Yep, Farmer's Almanac,
mm-hmm.
and you quit, and I believe it was in the feet, the same time you wean calves and such, or you clip your calves. I believe it was in the feet.
Are you saying feet?
You're like, what?
Well, Mike,
I can see it.
Well, I don't think you can see my face in real time because YouTube is about 30 seconds behind, but whatever. Are you saying feet?
Yes, F-E-E-T.
Okay.
Feet.
So
if you get an almanac, you'll understand it. And it just makes life a whole heck of a lot easier. I tried everything. And it makes life easier.
Explain to me what you mean.
All right, in the almanac, it's got for planting, for cutting calves, all kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it will tell you when to do this, what time of year to do it. Okay, planting and everything.
Right, sure.
So it would give you the best days of smoking to quit smoking.
So the almanac, Farmer's Almanac, or it will tell you when to stop smoking.
It's not going to tell you, but you want to quit when it's time to quit. Like for quitting, the best days to quit smoking should be July 16th, July 24th, August 12th, August 16th, September 8th, and those are the days to do it.
Why
start that day?
Why is that?
You got me, man. I don't know. These guys have been around a whole lot longer than I have, doing stuff a whole lot longer than I have. This country's been around for 200 some odd years.
Wow. Well, that's cool. I did not know that they offered those types of days in the Farmer's Almanac. That's great news.
Yeah, I thought it was because it helped me.
Yeah, man. Well, anything to help. Thank you, Mike, for the advice. Grab yourself a Farmer's Almanac, and if you're just needing that extra push, that extra lean into what you're doing, then that's a great way to get that lean. I mentioned the slowpoke law. I want to go back to this. According to Tennessee Code 558-204, that's 55-8-204, On interstate and multi-lane divided highways that are 2 or more lanes in each direction, a person shall not operate a vehicle in the passing lane except when overtaking a passing vehicle or passing a vehicle that is in a non-passing lane. In the text, the passing lane refers to the far left lane on a roadway with 2 or more lanes. The lanes in the middle of a 3 or more lane interstate are not considered passing lanes. Essentially, Tennessee drivers, residents, and those passing through should only be in the left-hand lane if overtaking another car. If a driver is not passing and remains in the left lane, it would be considered a violation of the law, whether or not you are obstructing traffic. A violation of the law is a Class C misdemeanor punishable by a fine of $50. In Tennessee, the maximum speed limit on any highway or public road. Wait a minute. In Tennessee, the maximum speed limit on any highway or public road is 65 miles an hour? That's not true.
That's not what I'm going.
It's 70.
75 in some places.
In Tennessee?
I believe so.
Well, it's certainly 70 in some places. I don't know why they're saying 65. Anyway, bottom line is this. I implore and beg of the good people of the Tennessee Highway Patrol and other organizations to get a handle on these jerks that are slow left lane drivers. Man, oh man. It's just awful. And to finish up on the smoking thought, because a lot of folks are on the super text line, I'm reminded of the great Mark Twain quote. Mark Twain, one of the most quotable Americans in our history, said, I don't know what everybody's so concerned about when it comes to quitting smoking. Quitting smoking, it's the easiest thing I've ever done. I bet I've done it 1,000 times. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, wrapping it up right after this.
Satan knows Scripture better than some Christians, and for that reason should be respected because he has centuries of experience in deceiving and tempting people. Satan understands our human nature and our motivations. Satan has the power to plant thoughts in our minds if we allow it through ignorance. John 13:2, during supper, the devil having already put into the heart of Judas Iscariot, the son of Simon, to betray him, that being Jesus, Satan can possess non-believers as well. Luke 22:3, and Satan entered into Judas, who was called Iscariot, belonging to the number of the 12. Satan actually tries harder on Christians because Christians become his enemies when we accept Christ as our Savior. The best news, Christians share in Jesus' victory since he defeated Satan's power on the cross. John 16:33, these things I have spoken to you so that in me you may have peace. In the world you may have tribulation, but take courage. I have overcome the world. Scan to learn more. Pastor and author J.C. Ryle once said, contrary to popular belief, hell is not a place God sends only the worst of the worst. Hell is our default destination. What that means is we need someone to save us, or we stand before God condemned to hell. But we cannot save ourselves. Only God can do that. Ephesians 2:8-9 says, for by grace you have been saved through faith, that not of yourselves, it is the gift of God, not as a result of works, so that no one may boast. Jesus Christ placed all believers' sins upon himself himself and died to pay for those sins. Why did he have to die, though? Because Scripture explicitly says the wages of sin is death. Wages means the same as payment, so payment for sin is death. There are no second chances to accept Christ and avoid hell after you die. So if you feel a prompting in your heart, it may be God drawing you. Scan the QR code to learn more.
I'm fine. How are you? Okay. Now, what he was saying earlier about the zodiac signs, the zodiac signs on the calendar, and you have to get that sign calendar, and it will show you the head, the neck, the breast, the reins, the thighs. And if you're going to quit smoking, you have to start that when the signs are going down. Like, you wouldn't want it in the head. That's where your mouth is, right? Or like if you're weaning a child, you wouldn't try to start when it was in the breast. It has to be going down. And they do work. It is in the Farmer's Almanac, but it's also on a Farmer's Almanac calendar. You know that there's a little moon man. Sometimes it looks like he's running in the rain or whatever on the corner of those calendars.
Oh, yeah, yeah, sure. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So the signs are on there. You'll see ones that look like, the rains are on there. The rains are like the scale.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever seen their little scale? Okay, so those are there's a part called the secrets, which obvious is your, secret. And like you wouldn't castrate cows or something like that in the secrets. They'll bleed out.
And my grandmother used to tell me something about you shouldn't milk cows on certain days after certain things, otherwise the milk would be sour. Now,
we used to milk. I used to milk. I've never heard that. We milked twice a day, every day, So we never had that problem.
I might, but Debbie, I might be getting all that wrong. I vaguely remember it, so I might be. Well, I've learned. I'm going to pick up a Farmer's Almanac now and check it out. Debbie, thank you for the call. Thank you all for being a part of the Matt Murphy Show. Agree or disagree, absolutely love you, your family, and I so respect your time on a daily basis. I appreciate you spending a little bit of it with us on a daily basis. We got a Fry Jay coming up tomorrow. Fry Jay includes, of course, Jay St. Clair in the 4 o'clock hour, and my man, Senator Bill Haggerty, coming up at 5:05 tomorrow afternoon, talking about the BBL, the Big Beautiful Law, amongst other things. Excited about that. For Ken Weaver, for Young Jackson, Matt Murphy speaking and saying, have a wonderful evening. Hug your loved ones. So long, everybody.